Okay, everybody. Happy Sunday afternoon. Well, I hope everyone had a good weekend. So tomorrow, beginning of this week, well, we'll see what happens. Wednesday is April 1st. So last night, my team won last night. So Michigan's on right now. They're winning. So if they win today, both my teams will play each other in the Final Four. I don't think that's ever happened before. They're two number one seeds. They're up 9. So I took Chico out. Now there he is. What you doing, buddy? You done? Hey, Chico. Well, y'all done? What are you doing? What? You all done, buddy? No? So the weather is actually 51 degrees out. So ain't too bad. Listen, Chico. I guess you want a window, don't you? All right, gotta get him up on the window. Come on. Yeah, Lori first. Boz, I got a video for you. It's an hour.
Do you have a car?
Ooh, looks like Michigan. Hang on here. They're up 12 points with 8 minutes to go. Maria, I told Kay to put the raise in for me last night on the phone. I told her that you said that. Okay. I still got to get your contact number so you can talk with Kay. You got my email, right? After the show tonight, try to put that email in so I can reach you. I forgot what state you were from, Maria.
Hey everybody, HG and H.
We'll be starting here in a few minutes. I lost that clip of Omar speaking outside there yesterday, but I found another person that had it, so we'll play that video from yesterday's protesters with Omar. So we got just 1 hour video for today. That's Mel, and the rest are 15-minute ones, 20-minute ones. KK, are you out there? Carol, Lucy. Ooh. Okay, hopefully everybody will see me come on here when we get started here. 3 o'clock, a 3 o'clock start today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll start off with that. Yeah, let's get that first one.
It just never takes long for the Democrat Party to show its true colors, because early on they were trying to frame No Kings as a gigantic love fest. Oh, ordinary, totally normal Americans are all coming out to express their discontent with Donald Trump, and let's try to throw this music festival like we're at Woodstock or something. Oh, just a bunch of happy, peace-loving hippies. And then immediately it devolves, of course, into Democrat politicians advocating on behalf of foreign criminals and ordinary Democrat voters genuinely just showing up and waving flags in favor of communism. Like, quite literally, that is what is going on. Now, I told you from the beginning that the supposed No King's Days are not even just happening in America. There are the similar types of protests in other countries. And what it basically is a revolutionary day for global organized communism, right? All these far left NGOs are rallying together, basically trying to put on an AstroTurf for fake support and fake protesters, and put together these events in order to, first of all, money launder and raise a bunch of money from their donors. But secondly, it's not a single Democrat. That's what their party truly is. You have to wonder where they're actually just to get out of bed. Yeah, you really own just to get out of bed. Yeah, this is unacceptable, or you're acting as a right-wing asset. You're making us look. But then on the flip side, right? You notice how complete immigration fraud. But before we get into that, first put out a long Cuba going to a hostile regime of the United States.
So that was all talk. Chico, don't start. He was talking through the whole thing, I guess. So that was just a 20-second clip on her speaking yesterday. All right, let's see where we're going here. That's 8 minutes.
Stating, "In all my years of service, I haven't seen him once with a mobile phone," he added. He doesn't use the internet or a mobile phone. He only receives information from his closest circle, which means that he lives in an information vacuum. Suddenly, we start to see why Russia is failing so hard in Ukraine.
You want to listen to
the man who is supposed to be leading the information isn't using the tools that he needs to get his hands on the sort of time-sensitive information that he needs to react to the constant changes on the front. Putin's demands for physical documents mean that information he should be getting instantly isn't arriving for hours or perhaps even days. Putin's paranoia is crippling the patsies that he sent to Ukraine. But more importantly, it's crippling his ability to serve as the strongman president he has for so long claimed to be. This is also a man who is terrified of germs. He's afraid of being poisoned. Putin would prefer never to fly in an airplane because he's afraid that it will be blown up while he's inside.
You want to hear this?
You might recognize these kinds of tactics as the very ones that Putin himself has deployed against his enemies. Perhaps Putin believes in karma. What goes around might well come around for Russia's leader. And he wants to be nowhere to be found when the sort of tactics he and Russia uses constantly are brought to bear against him. What we're starting to see here is the story of a man who has become so encompassed by his own fear that he has paralyzed himself. No internet, no cameras, no Kremlin. And in the wake of Khamenei's elimination, Putin is also waking up to the fact that no matter how hard he tries, he won't be able to escape what he increasingly believes could be coming for him. It's not just what happened to Khamenei that has caused Putin to become a no-show in the Kremlin. It's the fact that the elimination of Iran's leader is the latest sign that the US is no longer playing by the same rulebook that it has been for decades. After all, it was only a couple of months before the launch of Operation Epic Fury that the US sent elite operatives into Venezuela to capture former president, and many would say dictator, Nicolas Maduro.
This is kind of boring one. Sorry about that one. Hey, Flying Eagle, we got Mel today, an hour. So that's the longest one we'll have today. And Maria's from Florida too, Flying Eagle. Okay, we got a 6-minute Kennedy video. Did we play this one the other day or not? I can't remember.
Went over to the Supreme Court. And on the steps of the Supreme Court building, I was there. This is what Senator Schumer said. I quote, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. Not Justice Gorsuch. Not Justice Kavanaugh. I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you," Senator Schumer said.
You are not going to believe the absolute lightning strike that just hit the Senate floor. I've seen political theater, but I have never seen a moment as raw and righteous as this. Democrats marched in, desperate to ram through a Supreme Court ethics bill, a total sham they claimed was about transparency, but it was a trap, and Senator John Kennedy was ready. John Kennedy stood up, and what he did left the entire Democratic side completely speechless. He simply spoke Chuck Schumer's own words back at them, and when he finished, the chamber rose to their feet in a standing ovation.
Right to object.
Senator from Louisiana.
Madam President, reserving the right to object. And with all the respect I can muster for Senator Durbin, and I mean that, Dick, I do not believe that most of my colleagues think this bill is about ethics. This bill is about abortion. In June of 2022, the United States Supreme Court decided the Dobbs case. It returned the issue of abortion to the American people through their states. While the Supreme Court was deliberating that case, my colleague and my friend, Senator Schumer, went over to the Supreme Court. And on the steps of the Supreme Court building, I was there. I remember it like it was yesterday. This is what Senator Schumer said. I quote, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh."
Anybody see this clip?
Not Justice Gorsuch. Not Justice Kavanaugh. "I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you," Senator Schumer said, "if you go forward with these awful decisions." Close quote. What we're seeing today with this legislation, in my opinion, but most senators agree with me, is part of the promised whirlwind. And I do not believe that we should try to undermine the integrity of the institution of the Supreme Court of the United States because we're unhappy with one of its opinions. I will withhold my objection at this time, Madam President, to allow my friend Senator Lee to speak.
Is there an objection?
Madam President,
Senator from Utah.
reserving the right to object. The United States of America is
Kennedy rose with that calm Louisiana steel in his voice. "This bill is not about ethics," he thundered. "This bill is about abortion." He dragged the chamber back to 2022, reminding everyone of the moment Chuck Schumer stood on the steps of the Supreme Court like a revolutionary leader. Kennedy was there. He heard the threats. He watched Schumer point a finger at the highest court in the land and scream, "I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price." The room went ice cold. Kennedy leaned in, mocking the blatant disrespect Schumer showed by stripping the justices of their titles. He looked across the aisle and delivered the absolute kill shot. What we're seeing today is part of the promised whirlwind. He exposed the ethics bill for exactly what it is, a weapon of revenge against a court that dared to follow the Constitution instead of the party line. Schumer promised they wouldn't know what hit them, and Kennedy just proved this bill is the impact. Stop right there. If you are sick of the double standards and want to see the truth defended, smash that subscribe button right now. We are fighting for the Republic. Don't miss a single update. The silence from the Democratic side was deafening. They were stunned. They had no comeback because how do you argue against your own leader's thuggish rhetoric? Kennedy yielded the floor and the Republican side exploded. Within seconds, it was a sea of people on their feet, a massive standing ovation for a man who had the guts to call a hit job by its real name. Here's the bottom line. John Kennedy just showed the world that the independence of our judiciary is under a coordinated, high-level attack. If we allow the Senate to punish justices for rulings they don't like, our Constitution is dead. Kennedy stood in the gap today, but the whirlwind is still swirling. Was Kennedy right to torch Schumer with his own words? Drop a comment below.
Okay, that's the first on Kennedy. These next two are we'll play this 2-minute clip.
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen, boys
Is this
and
guy
girls.
okay or not?
I greet you here together with Diana Najadi Kennedy Kaluni, my spouse from our Space Force Command headquarters in Paris. Today we have the 10th of July, 2024. This is a special announcement to all divine humanity on Earth.
We got an hour.
Diana and I
Now
have today given the formal order to arrest all non-humans, Jews, lawyers,
Anybody
judges,
is everybody okay with this one or
corrupt
what?
policemen, Freemasons, and other criminals that fall under Executive Order 13818. Serious crimes against humanity, serious corruption, and treason, that is Title 18, USC 2381, and Title 50, 3059. This is under our command of 50 USC 1550. This order here also serves as an order
Everybody's okay with him. Okay, I got
to exclude any
another
doubts.
clip, I think.
The action taken is swift and is to be made immediately. This is also addressed, of course, to our Inspector General of the U.S. Space Force. With that, I wish you, divine humans on Earth, a wonderful day, and justice is coming now your way. It even rhymes. We love you, and where we go one, we go all.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Sincerely, Pascal Najadi, CMD, US 50 USC 1550. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.
That was a short clip. Next one is about 4 minutes.
Turkey. They're in Kuyu, Turkey, in Cappadocia.
Video here.
Has over 200 underground cities. They're ancient dwellings, at least 2 levels deep. 40 of them are at least 3 levels deep. They have assembly halls, bedrooms, sitting areas, ample proper ventilation, and they were ancient. And these dwellings were known by the crypto-Christians and were used as catacombs for them to save their lives during the persecutions of the Roman Empire. So these dwellings of ancient origins were used by the early Christians, and some of them even have ancient Christian churches in them from that time. The Mediterranean is filled with underground tunnels, ancient structures.
What do you guys think of this one?
And the people that know about these were people from that time, all through the Middle Ages, Byzantine era, and even today. The people that know of these are definitely the engineers and the architects. For example, Second World War, some Greek architectural students knew of the tunnels underneath the Acropolis, went up to the Acropolis, removed the German flag during the night secretly, and put up the Greek flag. The next morning, the Germans woke up and found a Greek flag up there. They found the heroes that did this. They were two architectural engineering students from the university there. So there are people that know of these underground tunnels connecting the ancient world. And of course, the ancient world included the British Isles. So these massive European networks of Stone Age tunnels weaves from Scotland to Turkey. They survived after 12,000 years, and they show that the original network must have been enormous, which means also that if it goes back 12,000 years, it predates the flood of Noah, as dated in the Old Testament. Who exactly carved all these tunnels? How is it that some of them are connecting? They're interconnecting in areas, other areas they're cut off from each other as if having some type of a border control. In Bavaria, in Germany alone, we found 700 meters of these underground tunnel networks. In Styria, in Austria, we found 350 meters. One archaeologist states, Stone Age man created this massive network of underground tunnels crisscrossing from Europe, Scotland to Turkey, like ancient superhighways. This was a theory of German archaeologist Dr. Henrik Kusch. He said evidence of the tunnels has been found under hundreds of Neolithic settlements all over the continent. So these tunnels were under the Neolithic settlements, which causes them to predate it to 12,000 years ago. It's an enormous find and very important.
So that was interesting, you guys think? Three minutes.
Show you. It's wrong too. Look, this is in the files. See him?
I hope this is okay.
So you guys think is Jeffrey Epstein? I'll say it again. That's who you guys think is Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, it is. But that's who you guys think is the boss of those islands, owns or runs those islands. No, this is the real Jeffrey Epstein. There.
Come on, Maria.
There. We saw him there. We had to call him Mary in Chief. They're saying that that was a fake passport using his name. It was a fake passport, not for a fake person. In the casted actor narrative, they use real people as actors to stand for other people that are guilty or not. Just like we all know that the Biden that we saw in the presidency is not the same Biden from 30 years ago. Why do billionaires flock to Palm Beach? Specifically Broward County. Why is Marius Fortelny in the same county as John Walsh? Did anybody else know that Well, Marion Fortellini is a giant billionaire real estate developer. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein. Shit. I mean, this man owns a lot of private islands off the coast of Florida and New York. Did anybody know John Walsh was a massive real estate developer before he became famous for having a kidnapped kid? Did anybody else know he was born and raised in New York? Still has vacation homes there? You're welcome. Welcome to the Casted Actor. It ain't a show anymore.
Well, what did you think of that last words? It's not a show anymore. I hope that one was okay. I got a few parts on this one.
Discuss any of this.
All right, when are you going to, General, when are you going to be able to discuss?
Thanks, Michael.
I can't discuss whether there is or is not a pending investigation.
I understand,
Senator.
but
This was
let's
just
assume
brought to light.
if
by
there is a
Director
pending investigation, if I were your special counsel and you had appointed me and I wanted to get the records of a sitting United States senator, is that something you would expect me to tell you as Attorney General of the United States?
They better have.
Yeah.
So John Kennedy just exploded at Pam Bondi over the secretly obtaining phone records from 8 sitting United States senators without telling them. And then he hit her with something nobody saw coming. Howard Lutnick, Trump's Secretary of Commerce, said on camera that Epstein was the greatest blackmailer ever, that prominent men participated in what happened in that massage room, and that it was almost certainly all on video. And Bondi began panicking. I'll break down everything later. Let's listen to this.
Let's suppose that I'm appointed special counsel at the Department of Justice. And I go to the telecommunication companies, the phone companies. Let's single out AT&T, and I say, look, I know you're busy, but I want to see a copy of the phone records of a sitting United States senator. They're not going to just give them to me, are they?
No, Senator, of course not.
In fact, they're probably going to ask me what planet I just parachuted in from, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
They're going to tell me to come back with a subpoena, aren't they?
Yes, Senator.
Okay. What do I have to show in that subpoena to get those phone records of a sitting? Did I mention it was a sitting United States senator? I can't remember. What do I have to show to get the phone records of a sitting United States senator?
Yes, Senator, there were actually 8 sitting United States senators.
Yeah, I heard that.
And you would have to have cause.
I'm sorry, what do I have to show?
You would have to have cause to get this.
Good cause or probable cause?
Probable cause.
Okay. Probable cause, or if it's a subpoena, deuces take them, good cause, to show what?
You would need good cause for a subpoena ducis tecum, and what you would have to show is that you believed a crime had been committed, or there was a possibility of a crime, or that could lead to other crimes. We frequently in criminal enterprises subpoena cell phones.
By the sitting United States senator.
Senator, they would have to have believed you were part of a criminal conspiracy, is my understanding.
Would a judge have to sign off on it? On the subpoena?
Yes, Senator. Well, for a subpoena ducis tecum, Jack Smith probably took it straight to the judge.
Now, the phone companies, particularly their general counsel, if they're worried about civil liability, even with a subpoena to get the phone records of a sitting United States senator. Did I mention it was a sitting United States senator?
Yes, Senator.
the general counsel for that phone company, let's say AT&T, they have the right to seek to quash that subpoena, don't they?
Phone companies frequently do that.
Yeah. And a smart general counsel for that phone company is going to call the sitting United States senator and say, would you like to weigh in on this? Would you like me to quash the subpoena? We're talking about invading someone's privacy here by a sitting United States senator. Could the general counsel for the phone company do that?
Well, Senator, if they believe that a crime could have been committed, they could not tip off the person who committed the crime. Again, I can't comment on details of this.
Yeah.
Senator, I can't.
Okay, that's the first clip. Got two more clips here.
But let's suppose, okay, they didn't want to tip off the sitting United States senator, but the phone company and the general counsel for the phone company, or companies, if there were more than one involved, could say, you know, this is serious as an aneurysm. This is serious as 4 heart attacks and a stroke. This is a sitting United States senator. So general counsel would likely advise the CEO, well, you need to file a motion to quash. The telephone companies could have contested those subpoenas, could they not?
Hypothetically, yes, I can't talk about the facts of this particular case.
We're talking hypothetical.
Senator, subpoenas are issued all the time through phone companies working with the general counsel.
But they can file a motion to quash.
They could, yes.
Yeah.
In any case.
And
KKK, you're all right. I'm saving the best for later. My team won last night, and Michigan's going to be winning right now, looks like. So the showdown next weekend. And Danny Hamlin got pulled for today's race, okay? It starts at 3:30. I already got a couple good video clips out already.
And if they should have filed a motion to quash, and a reasonable person would have filed a motion to quash, because this is a sitting United States senator, and they didn't file a motion to quash, they would incur civil liability, wouldn't they?
Senator, typically phone companies follow a subpoena from a United States
I know they
attorney.
do, but they don't have to.
They could challenge it, Senator.
Yeah. And if they don't challenge it, they better have a damn good reason. Right? Right?
Senator, I can't talk about the facts of this particular
This is just a
case.
hypothetical.
In general, hypothetically, Senator, maybe they didn't recognize any of the names of the 8 sitting United States senators.
Hypothetically.
That was a joke.
Or maybe they should have gone to Amazon and buy some testicles online. Instead of just saying, sure, I'll just show you the phone records of a sitting United States senator on the basis of an administrative subpoena. Now, do you have copies of the subpoena applications for
Yes,
these
Senator,
8
Senator, I can't discuss anything regarding
You
this
can't
case
even
with
tell me
you.
if you have copies?
I can't discuss any of this.
All right,
with
when are
I'm
you
sorry.
going to, General, when are you going to be able to discuss it?
I can't discuss whether there is or is not a pending investigation,
I understand,
Senator. This
but
was
let's
just
assume
brought to light
if
by
there is a
Director
pending
Patel.
investigation, I don't want this to get swept under the rug, okay? Because I think you're going to get pushback from all quarters. I think the telecommunication companies are going to be all over you like a bad rash because they've got liability here for just turning over these records when they knew what was going on. I think some FBI agents may have some liability here. I think a special counsel might have some liability here. If I were your special counsel and you had appointed me, and I wanted to get the records of a sitting United States senator, is that something you would expect me to tell you as Attorney General of the United States?
They better have.
Yeah.
And
Do we know in this instance of the 8 sitting United States senators if they told Attorney General Garland?
Senator, I just learned about this very recently, as did Director Patel, and we cannot discuss the details. I don't know many of the details.
Well, maybe we ought to get Attorney General Garland here. Do you know if the special counsel told FBI Director Wray? Is that something? Let me put it another way. If I were your special counsel and you were the director of the FBI, and I'm trying to get the phone records of a sitting United States senator. Did I mention it was a sitting United States senator? Is that something that you would expect me to tell you as director of the FBI?
In general, I would believe the FBI would help execute the subpoenas.
Yeah.
To the
Okay, I want to switch to another subject in the 12 minutes that I have left, since everybody else got to go over.
Okay.
Okay, one more clip. Another good clips with Kennedy here.
Secretary Howard Lutnick on October 1 gave an interview to the New York Post about Mr. Epstein. And he described Mr. Epstein as, quote, the greatest blackmailer ever, close quote. Have you reviewed that transcript of that interview?
I have not reviewed the transcript, but I saw the clip of it.
Okay. It appears that Secretary Lutnick was Mr. Epstein's next door neighbor. In fact, their townhomes shared a wall. And the reporter that was talking to Mr. Lutnick, she asked how other prominent men could have been associated with Epstein when Mr. Lutnick could immediately sense that he was a, quote, pervert. And then Secretary Lutnick said, or rather the reporter said, did they see it and ignore it? Do you remember that from the interview?
I do.
And Commerce Secretary Lutnick said, no, they participated. And then Commerce Secretary Lutnick goes on to say, quote, that's what his MO was. You know, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was a video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever, blackmailed people. That's how he had money, end quote. Is that true?
Senator, as our July memo said, we did not uncover evidence. This case has gone through 3 administrations, as well as former U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta.
I know that, Pam, but have you interviewed Secretary Lutnick?
No, Senator.
Do you plan to?
If he wants to talk to the FBI or the FBI wants to talk to him, that is more than on.
Don't you think you ought to talk to him after this interview?
Senator, if Howard Lutnick wants to speak to the FBI and if Director Patel wants to speak to Howard Lutnick, absolutely.
Okay. Maybe we ought to get Mr. Lutnick in here too, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Booker.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney General, I know there's been a lot of talk about grants. I hate to bring you through this again, but it's really.
I didn't want to hear Booker. Kennedy got done, so there was only about a minute left. So that was a good clip.
now lowered their draft age to 12 years old. That's right, you heard me. They are now going to start taking 12-year-old little boys and getting them ready to fight the United States. They are basically saying that if the United States puts feet on the ground, that they will burn our soldiers alive. I do think they have got a very sinister plan in place waiting. 40% of our fertilizer comes through that strait. It is planting season. We have a limited time to get this shit done before our food is going to be affected in the fall. You need to be prepared just in case something happens. That doesn't mean go to the store and act crazy. This is not going to end, I don't think, in a couple of weeks. I don't care what anybody's saying. It's not looking good. You need to be prepared. By the way, on a second note, do you get a break at work? Do you get about 15 minutes? Can you add 2 minutes to that and sit in silence and watch the clock? I want you to sit there like you're watching paint dry. I just want you to sit there like this. And after 17 minutes, if you sit there and you going, what the fuck am I doing? Why did you make me do this? This has been the longest moments of my life. That is how long Laken Riley fought for her life. For 17 minutes. It took 17 minutes of brutal fighting for her heart to stop. And for all of you that say we need to stop saying her name, it's gotten old. Would it be old if it was yours? Did you hear about the trans rapist that raped a 14-year-old little boy? They gave him 6 months. 6 months for giving a 14-year-old physical and mental damage. He's got PTSD for the rest of his life. God knows what will happen to him if he don't get a whole bunch of therapy. Google this. People who have been unalived by illegals in the past 7 days. Go get your computer and do some Googling. There's one, we don't even know his name. He was a hit and run. They don't know who this man is. They're trying to find the guy that hit him. There was a woman stabbed in Virginia to death. Of course, we know about Sheridan Gorman. Did you know about the 83-year-old veteran who should have died in his sleep, surrounded by his family, but instead an illegal pushed him in front of a subway train on the tracks? That's how he went out. There are about 8 or 9 people that have been unalived in the past week by illegals. Boy, it's ramping up. Once again, I say to you, please carry. Please keep your head on a swivel. And if you're in front of a damn subway, I'd had my back against the wall. I wouldn't be standing near it. Guys, take care of yourselves. Prepare. Please carry. Thanks, guys.
Okay, that's one so far. Yeah, I hope not, Neil. All right, we got that guy on TikTok, the news guy, 9 minutes. And after that one, we got Spies' video. Now, 1 hour and 6 minutes. I don't think we played this one, did we, Eagle?
March 28th, the year of our Lord, 2026. It is about 6:30 here in California, and the day is over, but more or less around the country today. There was the No Kings rallies. That's backwards. You're on TikTok. But the No Kings rally, 3,100 rallies all over the country, city after city after city. This one, that one I just showed you, was in Florida. This one is in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of people. Apparently about 7 or 8 million people were there protesting Donald Trump and protesting ICE. Oops, that's backwards, upside down. No, and it says end ICE. They don't want to fund ICE or the Border Patrol or the border or the Department of Homeland Security. I think people that, well, adults in this country understand that our national security, our nation's national security is vital.
I think this is a new one.
Not to just the nation, but to you and I as individuals. Listen to me very carefully. These people that want, like the members in Congress, trying to defund ICE, defund the Department of Homeland Security, defund, here's the interesting point, and they want to defund the CBP, Customs and Border Protection. Now they got upset because there were so many rallies because they wanted to defund the security. Listen to me very carefully. These people are not thinking rationally. And I want folks to understand, I've done a study into this. There is not a lot of, I guess what you might say, research into the hatred these people have for anything, but we're talking about hatred in general. When an individual has an intense hatred for something, that shuts down specific parts of their brain that are responsible for rational thought. When that happens, they can no longer think rationally. And what it leads to is impulsive, destructive, violent behavior. It may not come right, that violence may not come right away, but pretty soon they will find a reason in their own minds to perpetrate violence on their neighborhoods, burn them down, or other people that are their target. They dehumanize the people that they are against. That gives them basically I guess what you might say, the ability when they dehumanize guys or people like me, conservatives, or Donald Trump, that gives them the full reason to perpetrate violence upon them. Listen to me very carefully. These people that are not thinking rationally, these liberals that you see in the rallies, fighting, not wanting Department of Homeland Security, not wanting the nation to be secure, not wanting protection, at least for the citizens in the cities like Chicago, where the young lady was literally killed by a illegal immigrant that had been deported once already. He snuck back into the country. The Chicago PD knew what he was doing. They let him go. He was arrested for DUI before. Then he actually hit and ran and killed Miss Abram. I'm going to show you something very, very specific. I have people on my team at EPAC, ensure the preservation of America and our Constitution. Our national security is at risk. Listen to me very carefully. Right now, especially with Biden opening the borders and basically signaling, come to America, we'll let you in. He actually flew in, bussed in millions of people. Here's the important point I want to say. When the borders are so inundated with people seeking asylum, that allows openings or gaps in the border for people to sneak into this country. Almost 2 million people snuck into this country. They're called gotaways. You've got thousands of people in this country that have one goal in mind, one goal, our destruction of our country, of you and I, because they hate Donald Trump so much. This is an illness. It is not a delusion. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. It is a mental illness. It can cause violence. And like I said, these people will reason in their own mind that you are not human because you're a fascist, and that qualifies them to perpetrate violence upon you. And I'm going to leave you with this. This is vitally important. All these people you saw in those pictures I just showed you, they hate Donald Trump, and they hate anybody that does not have the same ideology. Listen to me very carefully. I'm a credentialed member of the press, and I'm going to read this to you, okay? Here's the question that needs to be asked, especially when these Democrats and these members of Congress and people around the country don't want ICE coming in and enforcing the laws. There's going to be hassles when they're trying to arrest somebody that's here illegally. That's the guy's going to try to run away, or the person is going to try to run away. That's where the violence begins, and they have to take drastic measures. But listen to me very carefully. Here's the question. What is the most important aspect of a nation's sovereignty and its security? Listen to me very carefully. The most important aspect of a nation's sovereignty and its security is the exclusive, effective control of its own territory, borders, and national defense. This fundamental principle ensures that a nation can independently govern its internal affairs and protect its people without interference from external powers or internal powers, serving as both a legal right and a practical necessity for survival. Listen to me very carefully. There are core components that uphold the foundational aspect, and they include territorial integrity and border security, military and defense autonomy, political self-determination, and economic sovereignty. All those aspects, all four of them, are under threat right now by the people in this country that want to defund ICE, defund the Department of Homeland Security, and defund the Customs and Border Patrol, and they don't want the border to be secure. This is very, very important. And I want to read this. Let me read this to you again so you just get the full understanding of it. The most important aspect of a nation's sovereignty and security is the exclusive, effective control of its own territory, borders, and national defense. These Marxists in Congress and many of these ultra liberals around the country that are protesting, walking around with signs.
Mel's going to be next.
ICE,
We got now or Mel.
They don't have any idea what they're saying or doing. They're putting their own lives, their own safety at risk, because there's thousands of people in this country that Biden, for the most part, opened the border and they got into the country that want to take this country down. They could literally turn our lights out. A little over a year ago, I sat in the Department of Homeland Security committee hearing on cybersecurity, and the ranking member, Benny Thompson, said he could no longer provide for the nation's common defense. You can watch it. If you go to preservingamericaepac.com, you can watch all four of our documentaries for free. But you can watch in our fourth documentary called A Nation in Distress, you can watch Benny Thompson violate his oath. He said it. I can no longer support Donald Trump's protection of the United States. He can't support providing for the common defense. It's in the preamble. It's in our Constitution. This is a violation of our oath, and this makes these people extremely dangerous, not only to you and I, but to them and their community. God bless everybody. Please go to
Hey, that was yesterday's one. I got a photo before we do Mel. Anybody see this yet? Hey, Pam Bondi. All right, hour and 6 minutes. Mel time.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the couple of minutes delay. I was just reading some fantastic articles for all of you. It is Sizzling Sunday, as I said. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get into some fundamentals. And then, of course, Sunday night is your night where you get to ask questions that are important to you. So we're going to change direction very slightly today because there's so much going on. It's like, let's take another direction today, only because it helps me as well. So let's talk about what's going on in the background. Yesterday, some friends asked for me, we were talking about the pharmaceutical companies and the stock market and this, that, and all the rest of it. So we can certainly get into a bit more about that. But let's have a look at what's been going on in the background. So we've got Johnson & Johnson, one of our favourites, not. But 4 months ago, of course, they acquired a new therapeutics company. And what are they going to be doing? Of course, this is linked to prostate cancer treatment. The reason I focus on that one is because we see Joe Biden, King Charles, Netanyahu, someone else came out the other day, and they've all got prostate cancer. So when these things are brought to your attention, it means that you need to go and have a look at them and give yourself a different perspective. It's not about the prostate cancer. It's not about them dying. It's what's going on in the background. About February of last year, I've searched high and low for this particular one, so I'm going to call on a friend after the show. I do remember sending that one to her, and this was to do with how Moderna and a natural therapeutic company joined hands, and they were utilising natural remedies for prostate cancer. So hopefully I can find that article for you. As you know, when they put these things out, ladies and gentlemen, they tend to disappear, or they make it very difficult to find them. But understand, this is the takedown or the redirection, you could say, of pharmaceutical companies. Now, it's not perfect. We spoke about this yesterday in a group session. Understand that during this great awakening, not everything has happened instantaneously, okay? It's not going to be instant. This, of course, is for those who still believe in science, still believe in that type of therapeutic. So Johnson & Johnson, as I said, only 4 months ago acquired another therapeutic company, and they're going to be altering their nefarious medicine, so to speak, and turning it into more medicinal purposes. So hence the cat and the cannabis cartoon. I hope you enjoyed that one. I thought that was rather funny. It was sent to me from my Wisconsin group. So again, other pharmaceuticals are acquiring different scientific ones to coming, but there's also underlining. So just to keep in mind, you still have choices, ladies and gentlemen. We can get all upset about pharmaceutical companies and this, that, but just a reminder that you can have dandelion extract, can be found to kill leukemia cells, prostate cancer, and chemo-resistant melanomas. You also have the choice of organic peanut butter to help with certain cancer cures, including prostate cancer. Chlorine dioxide, on the advisement of a naturopath or someone who is an expert in that area. There's many, many forms, and as I said in this group the other day, you have choices. So, but pharmaceutical companies, as I said, have come under scrutiny. Believe you me, it is not all bad. As I said, they are making changes in the background. Talking about changes, we're going to go to Vietnam now. They are having their very first national conference on livestock and veterinary science and technology. This is the first time ever. And again, they are addressing changes in the agriculture industry for the livestock, going more natural and bringing it back to, well, they call it the climate change or the new green climate change. This is your coming into balance with nature, okay? We have a very dear friend. Hopefully he gets to see this. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Tagasassy and things like that as well, and the benefits for the cattle and livestock there as well. We hope to do a project in Iran, believe it or not. So, so science and technology is being transformed. So when you see or hear these emotional things that could possibly happen in the scare event, understand in the background, science and technology are coming together for a more natural to transition and approach. Okay, so that's what they're doing in Vietnam as well. So let's go across to a new council was also set up to evaluate revisions to nuclear projects. Oh, nuclei. We will do a little bit more on this one. I'm working on another project regarding quantum language. And of course, what was interesting, Australia had sent over one of their new nuclear submarines over to, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. But we're not going to talk about war today. Let's focus on all these exciting changes. Another exciting change that just appeared just the other day. So hello to some Aussie patriots out there who do their own research and notice little things. Councils are now turning into counties. Very interesting. That's another exciting thing that is changing. What that basically means is that there's things happening in the background. We will see local councils going into counties, and then counties will be transformed as well. We're starting to see different changes here in Australia to come up to speed. So that's very exciting. The banking sector. Wow. Okay. There's a lot happening in the banking sector. But let's have a listen to this one and get an understanding of what's going to happen, or give us a better timeline, so to speak. What are ETFs? We talk about sometimes in acronyms, and a lot of people don't understand why is that important. Well, we're going to talk about ETFs and JP Morgan in a minute, but I wanted to explain ETFs. Now, what that stands for are exchange tradable funds. These are funds that are basically investment funds. So we're going to be talking about more investing, because we are coming into our biggest transfer of wealth. So these are investment funds that are represented in a basket. So it's a whole heap of things in a basket of such as bonds, stocks, and commodities. And they put them all into this investment fund, and then they trade that onto the stock market, the new stock exchange. Okay? Because the stock exchange is another one that has altered and changed and has variance in it now. But what are JP Morgan doing? This is a very, very big marker. Okay? So JP Morgan are transferring 14 of these ETFs, or 14 of their investment funds, from their current exchange. Why is this important? Well, one of their ETFs, or external exchange trading funds or investment funds, are the NASDAQ Stock Market, LLC. You think that's pretty important. We've got the New York Stock Exchange Incorporated and the CBOE Exchange, which is your Chicago bank, offers its exchange in that as well. So that is very important. These changes are occurring, of course, on April the 16th. The list I will put up afterwards to go through that list of those 14 exchange funds. And these, of course, please understand, JP Morgan are pivotal in the currency exchange and revaluation. They have been restructured, just like we have spoken about just today, about the restructure of your pharmaceutical companies and, of course, your science and technology, from veterinary services. We're talking about the restructure of nuclear. This is not going to be a nuclear war. It is restructuring nuclei for the benefit of us, the people. Okay, so keep that all in mind. What's happening in Wells Fargo? They've just updated and done a big transformation in their new app. Oh, it's the same app, but they're calling it a new app, whatever. And of course, we did see the new app coming from the White House as well. For those who were looking for the US Treasury note to be released, it wasn't released like we thought it was, but it was released that DJT is going to be now signing the US Treasury note. So it technically wasn't released, but we know this movie is never what we want or hope or wish for, do we? But talking about currencies, of course, Zimbabwe are building strength every day. They have now been emerged as the second largest economy in the southern part of Africa. Of course, the leading state, of course, is South Africa itself. We're also still seeing many changes in the World Trade Organization and the IMF changes as well. Again, reminding everyone this is they work alongside of BRICS, that being Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And this is the transformation of our global currency reset and our new quantum financial system. So that's pretty much all I wanted to touch on this afternoon, going into the Q&A. All right, so that we start to focus on not all the stuff that's going on, but let's focus on the events that are changing and how things are going to happen once our revaluation and that occurs. So it's over to you, ladies and gentlemen, for a Q&A. You have the next 45 minutes to entertain me. That's a nice change, isn't it? So who are we going to have to start the ball rolling? So there we go. Colorado Mama, of course, she would be the first to come up. She's extremely busy, so we'll bring her up first, and then this will be our headway into our Q&A. Hello.
Hey, check your text. I think I sent you the article about Maduro and his little drug problem.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
I sent that to you.
I'm
getting my stuff together, so if you've got other people in line, I've got a few things. I'm lining them up. I've been running from meeting to meeting, so I'll be back with you shortly. So grab another blessed soul.
Yeah, I've got some here then. Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, Colorado Mama. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, she is extremely busy. She pops in here as often as she can. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, it is all over to you. What would you like to talk about today? So we've given you a couple of little snippets, but what is happening out in the world? Everyone's quiet.
Okay, well, let me just come back here. Los Angeles has a famous man there by the name of Silverstein. You heard of the guy before?
Yeah.
He likes to buy insurance. He likes to buy insurance policies.
There's Lucy.
He bought another insurance policy on a building in Los Angeles. Did you hear about that one?
No.
A terrorist policy. A terrorist policy on the 72-floor building down off of Wilshire Boulevard.
Yeah, that's the one I posted. Yeah, I posted that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he rented that building, by the way, from.
Happy birthday to his grandson.
Yeah, from China. Yeah. Yes.
Actually, Singapore.
Yeah.
Singapore and Indonesia. Owned by an LLC, guys. So let's just say that we might have to have a mirror event.
Yeah, 9911. 911. Yes.
And it was in a movie, by the way. That building was used in movies.
Oh, really?
Go do a little bit checking it out. Heist. One of the great heist movies was filmed there. A building tracked by drones was filmed there. Quite interesting data points. We got so much going on. Where do you want to start? I always tell you, I only have about 5 hours of content, so that's it. Other people here jump right in and talk about what's going on in Venezuela. I can tell you that we just now joined the World Health Organization. I just can't even tell you what I think about that. The World Health Organization. Colorado joins the World Health Organization on our King of Kings Day as they're protesting downtown and they don't even know what they're doing.
No, exactly. So, yeah, I did do Silverstein the other day, or it might have been a week or so ago.
We've got the first coming up, which is the next little ditty.
Yes.
And there's going to be some announcements from the SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, on Tuesday morning. Can't imagine what they have to talk about.
Tuesday start.
You think? I would think. I could probably agree with you on that. Never know.
Yeah. So Tuesday start. There has been a lot of talk in the chatter, of course, regarding the election fraud. This has always been in the Q post. I know we're sick and tired of listening to the whole 2020 elections, but we're starting to see that this is what the whole Venezuela's joining the World Health Organization and all that sort of stuff. This is all the theatre of bringing it down, bringing everything down. It is going to get crazy this week. I really, truly believe that. And I think they're going to throw out something or throw in something, whether that be for the SEC or is it going to be the 2020 election. I think by Tuesday, we're certainly going to start to see. Tuesday will be your start of the chaos leading into April Fool's Day. Of course, April 2nd, DJT has another, I think he's calling it Liberation Day. Do we finally liberate with the release of funds and that as well? Does he liberate with a brand new calendar? There's certainly things looking very, very interesting regarding that. And my phone is just going off its tree. So, but yeah, some ladies and gentlemen, come on, there must be someone out there who would like to ask a question. Put your hand up. Don't be scared. It's only Mel. So we love sharing some stories. There we go. The beautiful Linda Richardson. Going to unleash you, honey. Linda, how are you? Yes, it's going to take a little while, but it's just unmute yourself, honey. If you tap on the screen, just unmute and you can ask away. Basquat. Unleash you as well. And God's elf.
You have Isabel down there, way down.
Oh, Isabel? Thanks, honey. Where's Isabel? Gee, we have quite a few people in. It's not letting me scroll down as per usual. Yeah, Isabel, if I get to you, honey. There she is. Increase of Joe. And, of course, Archer 1111. There she is. And increase of Joe. There we go. There's a whole heap of you unleashed. So I know Archer 111, she knows how to operate.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Doing all right. How you doing, Miss Mel? Good to talk
I'm
to
doing
you.
awesome. I am actually trying to unlock Increase the Joe, and it just won't. But anyway.
I have a simple question for you.
Go for it.
Because I texted you a while back, and I know you probably get a million DMs, so I don't think you
yeah,
saw it.
yeah.
But if you talk about your digital asset check quite a bit, and I didn't know if that's something that's open to accepting new members. I'd love to join it.
Yeah, absolutely. You should find there's a couple of posts in there from the digital assets with Mel, and just hit on that, and it'll take you straight to that channel, hon. So yeah, but I will add that.
Yeah, I had searched for it and I wasn't too successful. So, but thank you. I'll check out the wall for that, darling.
No worries at all.
We're ready to go, huh?
Oh, I think so. I think, like I said, this week is going to really unleash itself. So,
well, I don't think we're far. I don't know if you ever listen to Frank 26, but he's got this new thing where he shares bank stories. When people call in and share, and it's really, it's like if you want to lift your spirits for the, I always press on one of his bank story videos. They're not too long. And it's like, this is real. It's coming.
It is.
It's coming. The bankers are ready, and they're talking about it now. A year ago, you were still a crazy person if you mentioned it, but Now they're
Oh,
talking about it. It's very exciting.
it certainly is. So the beautiful Archer 111. Isabella, you are unleashed as well. It finally let me unleash. So let's go.
Hi, Mel.
How are you? How are you?
Can you hear me? Good, thank you. Look, I'm so glad. I love listening to you. I'm calling from Australia. I'm here down from Sydney. Look, it's just this shit show is getting out of hand with the diesel and people are worrying. Now, my question is, I'm really following this. I'm a deep thinker. Why did Ursula von der Leyen came to Australia, really? Do you think it was all to do with deals, or just Alba has received some instructions from, we are still with the Bank of London?
I don't think there was any deals made. I mean, it's out of his hands. He's not in control of anything. There was an interesting article I did post about something that Kata and Barnaby Joyce put together.
Yes, I read that.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Wow.
So as I say, who is in control of the Australian government, so to speak? I think you're going to see, I think this is the reformation of the political agenda here in Australia, where we actually are going and converting from this, as I said, councils here in Australia are now moving to counties, giving back the power to the people. This act is very, very important in the sense that they're putting these acts or these bills through. They don't need Albanese. Albanese is just a puppet, darling. So I don't think there's any deals done. I think it's actually starting to show all of us that the cover story is the diesel, the cover story is Albanese doing all this other paper and all the rest of it. So that's why I always say, let's focus on, if it's brought to your attention by, say, DJT, or you're starting to see a trend in certain things, it means that it's not for you to focus on that. It's to give you an indicator. That's why we talked about prostate cancer today. How is it that we have prostate cancer with King Charles and Netanyahu and Biden and all of these people got prostate cancer?
Yep, it's been going on for a while now. The going around is like a cat around hot milk.
That's exactly right. So I look at the pharmaceutical companies in the sense that, do we want them? Do we like them? No, no, no. Exactly. But under the umbrella, they are making changes, although they're not fast enough for me either. What I'm saying is that there is many changes going on, indicating to me. Occasionally, I still even post different science things, and I also give you the direction of, well, if that isn't an alternative for you, then, as I said today, look at dandelion, chlorine dioxide.
Yes, I've been using this. Yeah, dandelion roots. It's good for liver. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. So, again, I think it's about choices. And that's why I say, if we choose to watch the theatre of Albanese, oh, my gosh, I would be angry. I would, and this is what's happening.
Because I thought you're going two steps forward, one step back. Is what's going on? But
I don't listen to
just the media and nothing. It's a big nothing behind that all.
Oh, absolutely nothing. So, so it's all good.
Just shocking. Mel, another question, just quickly to ask regarding foreign currencies. I have got multiple foreign currencies, and I got some XRP, XLM, all that. Now I'm hearing that the foreign currency, after the revaluation, only people, that's my understanding. Is it true that only people who have got digital assets will be able to redeem their foreign currencies?
No.
Good. Because some XRP channels on X, there's so much.
Yes. I understand. Yeah, I understand. They have their own. They have what we call conforming bias.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I don't disagree with them, honey. I do not disagree with them.
I've got
what
both.
I'm saying is that there is two sides. The currency exchange is going to be much different to what the other conforming bias is on that as well, I think. But I do believe that digital currencies, I've had to alter my conforming bias as well, because I start to see changes and I go, hold on a second. I cannot be biased. Yeah, you can't be biased. We have to hedge. None of us know what's going to happen. So, but if you hold it, you own it. And as I said, there is ways and forms of doing that. So, but all is good.
Yes, look, I'm under control with the trust and all those things.
Good.
I'm into the future. Another thing, I went into HSBC in the city a few weeks ago because I'm mostly holding dongs. And I thought, being an Asian bank, let's go in there, into the head office in the city. Look, maybe it was just, I had lunch with my son, so I thought after lunch before I go on the train, I'll just go in there and check out. They don't know anything about, they're not exchanging any foreign currencies. Like I asked, she asked me, what currencies you're talking about? I said, I'm interested in Vietnamese dongs. She said, no, we're not exchanging. Maybe not currently. I thought.
No, that's true. That's exactly right. Again, I've said often that the banks are not going to know anything. They're utilising the bank buildings, this, that, and all the rest of it. It's only for those banks that are exchanging, as in the Commonwealth Bank, and things like that as well. So
I'm with them, and 6 months ago or even more, I asked the guy, but here in my town, they know about the ISO 20022. They are aware of that. They're getting trained, and the guy, it was an Indian guy, I think he was a bit gullible. He said to me, and we have to buy some too. Now, what did they have to buy some too?
That's exactly right.
Buying
That's
into
exactly
it.
right. And so, like you said, Archer 111 said the same thing. 1111, I should say. We said the same thing 12 months ago. We weren't talking about anything, even ISO 222 compliance. So they are getting trained in it. They are aware of it. As I said, they'll utilise the banks as a platform, and how it unfolds is anyone's guess. So
I know. You know what? It is just, I've done so much work because I'm not working. So, I'm able to do my
5 minutes left.
Checking out everywhere. But I'm glad that you mentioned the Commonwealth Bank. Obviously, when the time is right, we'll know where to go and where to exchange.
Absolutely.
But now, what is going to happen with that? Because the digital my crypto is all on cold wallet. So how will I be able to? Do I need to take all my passwords, the whole lot, with me when I go for an exchange?
No, definitely not. Leave that at home. Leave that in your drawer where it's safe.
Yep. All righty. Look, thank you so much. I just needed to be.
Isabella, you do not give anyone your keys or anything to unlock your crypto wallet, honey.
I just wasn't sure how they're going to transfer it. Is it going to be all one?
You will automatically click over when you transfer it over.
Oh,
don't
excellent.
Don't worry about that. That's what digital is all about. So, that's okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Look, I
that's
really
all right,
appreciate
darling.
your knowledge.
Absolute pleasure.
I think you are the most realistic one. There's so much crap going on out there that I thought, no, I'm only checking what you're putting in because that makes sense. They are facts. And thank you. Thank you for being here.
I'm glad I caught you. And thanks to Colorado Mama for catching that one. Linda, if you're ready to be unleashed, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, Basquat, however you want to add basket, you can. No. Yes, there we go.
This is Basquiat. Hi, how are you, Mel?
How are you? There you go.
I'm good. I'm in the United States, right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I don't know if anybody saw it, but the whole Larry Silverstein, his building that he owns is the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles, and they're talking about a scare event. And it just came to me as they were talking about the scare event. I wonder, because it's the bank tower, now whether it comes down like 9/11, who knows, or how they're going to do it. But I wonder if it's our banking, it's a symbolism for our banking system coming down.
Yes.
And I don't know if anybody's thought of that. The other thing too, in Philadelphia, he owns 1735 Market Street building. And at the top of that building is a club, and it's called the Pyramid Club. And I know Philadelphia's got a lot of nefarious things. They have a lot of waterways, probably submarines and that kind of stuff. I know they took down that bridge near 95 before.
Okay. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And just his last name occurred to me, it has silver in it. So I just felt like there was a little bit of symbolism in that whole scenario of a scare event and the name of his building, the bank tower. So I thought I'd bring that to everybody's attention. Yeah. So I don't think he's in control. I always go back to the very beginning. They're not in control. That's just it. So it's going to be something. And I just think a lot of the stuff is symbolism. But I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. That's exciting to hear someone else with a different perspective, because Epstein, who created Bitcoin, was it Jeffrey Epstein? This is what I was talking about the other day. I think everything is. I think you're onto it, girlfriend. These are symbols or indicators for eyes to see and ears to hear. This is called the Great Awakening, to open up your mind, your spirit, and your heart, and work through this, whatever the event is going to be. I think you might be exactly right. Like I said, I brought up Silverstein about 2 weeks ago in Wacky Wednesday, I think it was, not last week, the week before, talking about Silverstein and how he brought these two these buildings and stuff. So again, you look at Trump Towers, it's now in gold. It contains gold. So again, these towers, not about the Twin Towers, but as you say, representing something to do with silver. I don't know if we would be able to cope with another Twin Tower event. We'll wait and see, but interesting times. But thank you, sweetheart. God's elf.
Thank you.
That's all right, darling. Thank you. Come up anytime you like. That's a great perspective. God's elf, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Mal?
I am superb, even better from hearing from you. I will not DM anyone related to money. Exactly my point. There's so many scams.
I've had impersonators. I've had impersonators too. A month ago, I found out about 6 of them because I teach on another channel. I teach sudden wealth syndrome and security and money beliefs and other things. But my question to you is on generational wealth. I've not been able to find anybody to give me suggestions on literature or somebody to follow on YouTube that could really direct me in a positive manner. Yes, I have all 3 baskets going: the metals, the digital assets, the currency. Believe that we're to leave an inheritance to our grandchildren per God's instructions. But I also know that in generational wealth, a lot of times the 3rd generation, it's gone. And I am looking at a family office. What do you have any comments, suggestions, literature, anything that could help me go in the right direction on this?
1000%. In fact, I get the best information, would you believe, out of the UK. But it does link me then to other banks and other aspects. There is one that we do have in Australia. and it talks about up to 4 to 5 generations for farmers and things like that as well. There is another one I do have in the family office, but there's also one in holistic planning. So if you also wanted to chase up holistic planning, I've just written down some notes today. I've been trying to get a little bit more diligent, so I will repost some of those links, God's Alf, regarding generational wealth and holistic planning and all of that for everyone, including yourself. So I've just made a big note in red pen, so I can do that for you straight after. So just give me another hour or so to find it, and I'll go through and post it. But I do have some new stuff, especially through the holistic accounting. So believe it or not, so they are out there. But I hear what you're saying, though. UK and in Canada as well, I think one of the banks have just updated their generational wealth. So I'll get onto that one for you. So that's too easy.
Well, I do appreciate it. I'm in the U.S., because I also want to pass down. I'm going to be a humanitarian, a philanthropist.
Hey,
I
Terry,
want to pass down
we're
that
halfway through this.
trust, or whatever it's called, to them. If they're worthy, if they're willing to do the work. I mean, first thing I'm going to have them do is tell me every penny that you spend in 60 days, because you got to know where your money's going.
Oh, absolutely.
So, go ahead.
No, that's what family office is like, honey. It's making them responsible for their own business or their own sector. So you can, like you said, you can give them or gift them a certain amount of wealth. It's to be treated as a business, so to speak, an LLC. They can certainly pay themselves out of it, but it does actually have to accumulate an income as well. So family office has a lot more elements to that. That's now coming into the holistic planning as we speak. So yeah, you're on the right path, absolutely. But I'll definitely specifically look into the US generational wealth and see what my algorithms in my phone and tablet will come up with. They might find something a little bit different to what you have, and we can certainly catch up.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. God bless.
Pleasure, honey. Too easy. Increase Joe.
Hi, Mel. You are amazing. So informative. I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, you're watching the hockey. I got it on. Michigan won. So next weekend, my two teams are playing in the Final Four against each other. Yeah, they're. I don't know. I think there's about 300 laps still to go. Hopefully, everything will go. He always wins here, I think.
Informative. I'm very happy to be here. And thank you for loving the people and the planet. It's just so amazing to hear you guys. Honestly, we're so grateful. But I will be quick. You have a lot of people on here, and if they all go quick, we all get to go. So I just wanted to ask, because I have heard both versions of the RV, that you need to separate from your husbands and you go separately. And then I heard you cannot go separately. They don't have the time. You have to go together. Well, when we're all set up and divided, and then you hear that, I'm thinking, is it one or both or what? Thank you.
Again, it's going to be choices. But I mean, if you're a husband and wife team and you are together, if that makes sense, what happens there is the reason that there's this split that you're hearing about, honey, is because certain things will be given directly to yourself, especially if you have been divorced and remarried and this, that, and all the rest of it. There will be certain parts that will be directed just for yourself in a separate account, or there is an access for you to access those funds. What you do with it after that is entirely up to you. But you certainly do go together. This actually came up in Wisconsin as well. You go together. You've already got an account together, but the account will operate as in each one will have their own unique unlocking pin into that account as it is per normal. So does that make sense? But there is
Yeah,
certain
we were going to go that way, but then they
Yeah.
said we had to separate. So we got everything separated. Now they're saying, so it's okay.
Yeah, again, like I said, I can't see how they would separate you. They can still do business. If you wanted a separate appointment specifically, as I said, you can grant that. Yeah, that's, again, they'll look at every situation differently. If you were separating or in the process of separating, honey, yeah, definitely go separately. You can.
No, we're not separating at all.
No, but I'm saying, I'm talking about in general for everybody who's hearing this, not just for you specifically. So if you were deeming to be, in that situation, to me personally, if I was married and I was with my husband, I would want him to be beside me, even just to hold my bloody hand, because I think it's going to be pretty daunting. So,
that was the case. We were going to go for one, and the other one would be like the exchequer, and then go for the other one, and then that one would make sure everything was going.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Again, I think we're better off sitting back and relaxing, and I don't think this is going to be as complex as that, to be honest. From all the means that I've had, as I said, they'll make allowances where they need to make allowances if they have to, but yeah, better together. Okay.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you.
That's all right, darling. Who was TCM?
Hello, Mel from New Jersey. How are you?
How are you, honey?
Oh, it's so good to hear your voice every time you come on. We really appreciate you.
Oh, that's good. I appreciate you too.
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
More importantly,
so anyway, you were mentioning about Chase Bank, and for the last couple of years, I've been depositing through my app direct deposit checks, and with Chase app, the checks, the money is available instantaneously. Mm-hmm. I have two other banks that I bank with, and it's not the same case. And I've been watching this very carefully. One of the banks is a very large bank, but they seem to be the ones that are lagging behind the most. The other bank merged with another bank to become one bank, and it seems like they're coming up a little bit sooner. Do you have any insight on any of that?
Look, Wells Fargo, as I said, are just done another transformation. I think they're all still doing updates in the background. How it all unfolds, like I said, I think eventually, like the credit unions over in the United States are very, very good as well. Don't underestimate the credit unions in the US. They're doing exceptionally well. Again, look at if they are compliant with your Basel III and this, that, and all the rest of it. Again, I think it's also got to do and to remind people that it's your quantum energy as well. Some people have great experiences with Chase. Other people don't have great experiences. Again, sometimes it's based upon your personal experiences at those banks. And again, use your intuition and where you feel comfortable, whether you've created a relationship with certain people. Often people do get into these conversations about, do you know about ISO 222? And that's what keeps you going, doesn't it?
I've inquired on the other bank, on that other bank. I was inquiring for the last 5 years. And in the beginning, people were looking at me like I was nuts. I mean, they had even called in the manager of the bank to come and speak to me. So, I mean, I did that at every single bank, But it's quite something from bank to bank what the situation is as far as, instant transfers or how long you have to wait for a check to clear at this point at where we're at, with the financials.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's really crazy.
if
But
it's not
anyway,
happening instantly, you need to be changing. That's for sure. So
yeah,
but
it's really true. And another question I had for you was, when we have this scare event, and I do believe that, and I've thought this for a very long time from the information that I had received back like in 2019. Do you think that we should keep a limited amount of money in our banking account, which is the way I've done it, to only pay my bills when they are due?
Yep.
Yeah.
But then again, in a scare event, they normally hold bills anyway. So it's a catch-22 situation. But if you are capable of doing that, for certain, definitely do that.
Okay, because I'm sure everybody's going to be like crazy maniacs wondering what the heck happened to their money.
Yes.
And I think they're doing it on purpose to wake people
course they
up.
are.
I think that's basically where we're at, because
yeah,
you take the money away from people and they totally flip out,
Yeah. I think we were talking today or yesterday also about the bond market and what's going to happen there. That is very pivotal. Actually, Michael Jaco just done a short video just before, and he's given a very good explanation about what's going to happen or his expectations. So I will post that shortly. I was in the middle of halfway through it, and then I go, oopsie, I've got to do Sizzling Sunday, so I had to stop. But I was very engrossed in Michael Jaco's just recent video, so on Rumble.
Yeah, I saw that. Was
He's very good.
Fighter, or was it separate?
He was separate. Yeah, he's been at the he was been at a function, and he's just come.
I did see that. Yes.
It's brilliant.
It was. It really was. It was very candid.
Yes. So, and he looks very handsome today too. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I hope you have a wonderful day. What's left of your day? It's nighttime over here, but
yes, I do.
Enjoy your day, and thanks so much, Mel. Love you.
Not a problem. Joe P, you are up, and then of course, All for Truth. Joe P, how are you?
Hello, Mel. How are you? Not bad, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good. I'm in Sydney, Australia. Now, I've been trying to find a company that does living trust because I want to set up one. But most of them, they are all through the internet. I want someone personally you can see face to face because I don't trust who I'm talking to the other side. Could be somewhere in Africa, could be in America. Who knows where they are?
I understand. Yeah. All right.
So
well,
which way is the best way to do that?
Just PM me, honey, and I'll share a couple of personal ones with you. These are.
So how do I PM you? How do I PM you?
How
you
at
do that?
Mel Micah. Yes. So if you type up in the search engine in the chats, and you put in the little @ sign, the A with a C.
Yeah.
At Mel Micah, MEL MICA. And
okay. Mel Micah.
Yep.
All right.
Micah,
thank you for that.
And I'll give you some details on some personal ones that I have actually met.
All right.
Okay.
So thanks for that. You can't post that your email address.
Oh yeah. Yes. Actually, let's. Yeah. The only reason I don't do that is because I've already got like 1,400 messages to get through.
Okay, I understand. All right.
But it's all good. Okay, darling. Too easy. Excellent. I'll, like I said, I can send it to you, Joe. You personally PM me first, and then I can send you my email. So
thank you.
All right, too easy.
Have a good day.
Catch you later. See you, mate. All for Truth. All up to you, honey.
Hey, Mel. I'm a first-time person asking you questions, and I'm very blessed. I did DM you, and thank you for DMing me back. I have actually two questions. So if New Zealand and Australia do not get their oil through the Strait of Hormuz, why is your oil so expensive? That's my first question. And my second question is, if Merry Christmas was the 25th and we haven't seen anything and April 1st is the new year, are we under the assumption that we've been fooled, or do you think it's something that could still go into fruition? Those are my two questions, and thank you very much.
Oh, that's okay, honey. My pleasure. The 25th, as I always say, we were looking for certain things. I can't remember exactly what's due. It was due to happen. We just sort of, we focus on these different dates. Again, military work into a different calendar, so who knows, right? But it's like when we said the other day that there was high expectations. There was whispers in the mist again that the US Treasury note was going to be released on Wednesday of this week, just gone. But what got released was that DJT is now going to sign the currency. So again, these things, they put out not misinformation or disinformation. What they actually do is they put these things out for us to go, oh, what's going on? Wake us up. We use those little moments for us to stay excited. Does it frustrate some of us? Yes, it certainly does. But what it does, it gives you the next marker. So you look forward to something that's possibly going to happen. We were hoping that it was going to be the release of the funds, but they release other things in the background. And what we released and saw was on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day was all the changes in Delaware. Okay, so this is the implementation, as I said, of the Clarity Act. Although they say it hasn't passed, I believe fundamentally speaking, it is already passed. And on Christmas Eve, as I said, duly noted that we saw the Delaware updates and the acts and this, that, and all the rest of it. That to me is still a form of Christmas Day. So when we look at these things, we have to take what is given to us with grace and gratitude. It's not what we expect or what we want, but it's still an indicator that we're on the right path. We're coming to the end of the movie. DJT is talking about not April Fool's Day, but on the 2nd. And it's going to be Liberation Day. What's he going to announce on Liberation Day? We hope that it's going to be something for us, as in the way of a currency revaluation. But it also could be him stating we are now going back to the gold backed. We don't know what he's going to announce. Only those in the know that. But we use those as markers. We don't have to get too emotionally attached to it, as we sometimes do, because our expectations, and we're all waiting for this to happen. I'm no different. It's the same with those with the waiting for the med beds. They're all waiting for it to come out and happen. But we have to remember that we have to live for ourselves right now. We use this excitement to continue to listen to people, but only control your emotions when that happens.
Hey, we're almost there, you guys.
The truth. We do use it, as I said, as a guideline, but it's there to only guide you. If you were to look at this as a procedure, for instance, a procedure doesn't tell you where to stand where the fire is, does it? It's a guideline, and that's what we try and do. Although sometimes it causes us frustration. Well, it was Christmas Day, that's been and gone, and whoop-de-doo-dah, this is all a scam. It's not a scam, because we're seeing things and changes that we've been waiting for many, many years. And we have to accept those changes as gracefully as we can. It may not be as fast as what we hoped, but the audio keeps going out. Okay, that's typical. Only because I'm talking the truth. But and that's what I say, we have to keep our emotions in check, but remain excited at the same time. If we're not going to be positive, our vibration is not remaining high as well. Do I get those down days? Yes, I do. The issue is that we look for these markers, like the marker I mentioned today about JP Morgan and how all of that's changing on the 16th of April. That's a huge marker. That's an alteration in that stock market as well. So that's going to be an important one to watch, is how the market responds to those changes from JP Morgan. So again, I get where you're coming from, honey. Are we being duped? Definitely not. I've gone over that head in my thing in my head for so many times, so many different ways. and then I look at these fundamentals, and we've never had these many fundamentals. Before it was pie in the sky, but now it's not. And when you start getting the synchronicities as well, then you can start to really believe. It's just that we don't know the timing. So yeah.
So one more question: who do you think is manipulating the silver and the gold right now? Is it J.P. Morgan and all the corporations?
Well, the corporations are only running. They're not running as corporations any longer. They're running as platforms. And the reason I believe in that is because the amount of CEOs that have been dispersed or altered and changed because they don't have the power of what they used to because of the technology and the AI and all the other aspects of this changes. Who's manipulating it? You know, we can go down the whole white hats operation. However, I don't think the white hats would be observing it, definitely. Who manipulates that? Again, this is that transition from the old system to a new system. You're going to have what they call glitches. So when they bridge things together, there's going to be alteration. So there will be some form of manipulation because they have to alter that to find the happy medium for when those two systems meet. It's like creating a spark when you create a child. There's this one moment. You can have all of these sperms running around, but until that sperm meets the perfect one, and there's that little spark, so to speak. And Spark is also a crypto token, just putting it out there. But until it gets to that point, these markets will manipulate just like that. So just another.
I like that, but do you think it's being I can't say the word manipulation.
Manipulated. Yep.
Yes. Do you think that it's going to change in the future, and that the codex is going to go out?
Oh, 100%. With the new blockchain, the progression of the quantum physics, as I said, it will come to a point where there will be no manipulation. It will just generally be that of the markets. Yeah.
Because the COMEX is full of derivatives and basically silver paper, which is not the price of what silver really is, correct?
Exactly. So this manipulation what you think is a manipulation is actually destroying the COMEX. I think there was the silver guy who is technically a bot on YouTube, was saying there's actually physically
John C.
whatever his name, whoever it is, but again, like I said, this is to bring the COMEX to a standstill, because you're right. It's like Bitcoin used to have its own algorithms. COMEX has its own algorithms, and that's what happens, and that's what you're thinking. It's a manipulation, but it's also an opportunity as well. So when these dips happen, they are opportunities for those who don't get emotionally attached to the dips, so to speak. And he does often talk about that, the silver guy. So he talks about don't get emotional about it when it dips. These are opportunities. So look at it at a different perspective. So.
Okay, and my last question is executive orders, I think it's 13,848 and executive orders 813. I'm not sure on that, which is where, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So why are we not seeing any arrests right now? We
don't see them, but we're hearing about them, aren't we? It's so frustrating. Again, I think a lot of things are going to be seen for those eyes. A lot of things, as I said just before, we're doing this on blind faith. We really are. Things that are unseen, we have to believe. Are they going to actually show us these arrests? Like I said, Michael Jaco, he came out and put some very important video together, and he speaks in a different mannerism to the fact that we will be seeing those arrests very, very soon. So looking forward to all of that. So,
Okay.
but,
Okay, and I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time, but I have
no,
one
you're
thing.
fine, honey. We're going to finish with you anyway. So, yeah.
Well, and I'm so grateful because I appreciate who you are, and you've been fantastic about giving us information. And when you came to Florida, I didn't know who you were, and I actually didn't have who you were. And I'm in North Florida. I'm in Tallahassee, but I never got.
Okay, I didn't get up the north part, but yeah.
So my other question is, dang it, hold on. It's about all the databases, data keys being constructed throughout the United States and the global.
Yes.
And isn't it interesting that in the United States, they're doing away with a copper penny? Guess how much copper is going to be needed for the data centers? Hello?
Exactly. So we talked a lot about copper being the copper penny being cancelled and all that sort of stuff. Is because they're going to be utilising that in the industrial sector. Isabel, you'll have to mute yourself, honey, because it echoes. Thanks, hon. So with the copper and that, the amount of copper that they're going to need. But what else is copper used for? For health and health plants, free energy, plenty of copper. Frequencies. So I think there's I have actually mentioned that these data centers, I think, are more than just what we call data centers. I think that's the cover story for something else that's more important, and how it's going to be utilized effectively when this flip actually happens. So yeah, I think you're onto it. You're definitely onto it, girlfriend.
So do you think they're going to be used for the good or for the bad? That's my question.
I think they're going to be used for the good. Again, I think certain things, like I said, with solar panels and things like that as well, solar farms are going to be altered and changed. There's different frequencies. I was talking yesterday, we were talking about the good benefits of graphene, surprise, surprise, and how it can be utilized in a different form of graphene, and how it's going to be utilized in lithium batteries and things like that as well. So as I said, everything that was brought to our attention that energy needs to be redirected on what else are the capabilities of all of those things, because this is the Great Awakening. We continue to wake up, honey. And I do believe that the data centers are going to be utilized for good, not for evil. If we continue to focus on the bad, does it frustrate me? Yes, it does, because I look at these things and go, okay, they look bad, they sound bad, but are they really bad? And what else could they possibly be using them for? And that's what we focus on. If we focus on all the bad stuff, then we haven't really grown, have we?
No.
We've got to look at these things and say, okay, there's bad rapport about them, there's bad energies around it, or is it just us, learning to ascend to different positivities and actively using our energies for better rather than focusing on what was bad, because otherwise we're not going to get anywhere in this world.
So one more thing, and I hate to do this, but what do you think DGT is doing by bringing up JFK Jr. in the media all of a sudden?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's a marker?
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, we were talking before about having a look at those things that continue to appear. I think he's done it more in the last 2 weeks than I have ever seen him speak about. He started to mention it about a month or so ago, And then all of a sudden, he started pumping it nearly in every single interview. I think he done a surprise interview on the group of 5, I think on Fox or something to that effect.
He did.
And he
did.
Yeah.
And he
came out and talked about JFK Jr. again.
He said he was
So,
handsome. He said he was very handsome. He's handsome.
There
So
you
that's
go.
a marker. So,
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mel, I appreciate you. Thank you. This is the first time
My
I've
pleasure.
ever been able to get on to ask questions, and you're like a rock star to me. So thank you, and I'm
That's
very
okay.
appreciative. So thank you.
It's okay. That's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm losing my voice. So we're going to finish it off there. I can see the boys in the background from Canada as well. We will definitely have to have another show very, very soon. I feel there's some things about to certainly pop. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look forward to seeing you all on Sizzling's Wacky Wednesday.
All right. That was Mel from last night. And like I said, we got to be on alert this week. So everybody's standing by for that. But anyways, I got some short clips now for a while, and I got about 4 15-minute ones. Is this an old one here, Fine Eagle? It says it happened today.
Ralph Rayburn is above the scene. Ralph, wow, what can you tell us?
Well, we were sitting at the airport, and pilot ran inside and said, "Hey, we've got a huge fire burning out to the southwest of us." So we took off here. What you're looking at right now is a warehouse complex that's on the west side of Red Road there, just south of the county line. Just south of the county line there, you can see the turnpike there at the top of the screen there. And then this huge facility here, there was an explosion of some kind and then a fire that broke out here. Unknown injuries, unknown exactly how the thing started, but it caught fire very, very quickly and spread through most of the complex here as we bring the camera back and forth across the screen here to show you. Fire department has arrived here on the scene, and they're starting to assemble here on the east side because the wind is prevailing winds right now coming out of the east, blowing all the smoke to the west. You can see they've already got one of their apparatus up there. They're looking for water sources in the area. There are a couple of canals that they're talking about tapping into here, but a massive warehouse fire burning, unidentified building at this point. We're trying to determine exactly what they're doing here or what the processes are, but there's a lot of material in and around the building that looks like it's on fire. So again, fire and explosion here happening about maybe 15 minutes ago. Fire crews responding to the scene here. This puts us just to the south of the big dump there. That's right off of 42nd and 47th, I guess, and the turnpike there. You see it in the background right there. But there are a number of containers here visible on the outside, and a lot of equipment and stuff stored here on the external portion of it. But again, not any indication of exactly what it is that they manufacture here and or they process here. But as we said just a moment ago, a big fire.
All of this, Ralph, is happening.
Okay, that was that first fire over there. Okay, it looks like he won stage 2. So hopefully he'll win Martinsville again, but still got over 200 laps still, I think. And I got Texas fire.
See
that?
What the fuck is that? What the fuck? No, that's a period of the clouds. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck? No, that's a period of the clouds. What the fuck is that?
Here's another view of that fire in Florida.
Oh my God! Oh my
Is that the same one, Flying Eagle?
This is insane! Oh my goodness, this is not funny. Back in the car, back it up! I got one, y'all. I try to get. Oh my God, y'all! I try to get to y'all. Come step back for me, please. Oh, look, the ash, the ash. You better get your food back out of here. Oh my God. Get it down and take it out. Oh my, Lonnie, I think that's her. Yeah. It's getting big, y'all. I'm trying to record it for y'all. Oh my God.
Oh, that was 6 days ago. Okay. Okay, we got Q just came out. Billy Bean does too. The first one is 9 minutes.
Tell a doc that. Rash.
What's up, family? Welcome back out of the darkness. I am Q. So whenever you decide to ally with someone, when you decide to ally with them, especially when you intend to go to war alongside these people, it's always concerning when you do that and they are on the brink
Well, I
of
was close by
military
you.
collapse.
Did you
Well,
check on
we
it?
find ourselves in a situation where our ally, Israel, is on the brink of military collapse. Now, before you attack me as being anti-Semitic or any of that, I purposely don't talk about Israel because people seem to lose all sensibility when it comes to speaking about Israel. No hate. I'm simply repeating what has been said by their military chief of staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, is now saying that there are serious issues and that they are months away from the IDF collapsing. His words, not mine. He says the reason is they do not have the manpower to sustain all of the fronts that they are currently fighting in. West Bank, Jordan, Iran. They do not have the manpower. So he is begging that the country or the legislative branch, that the parliament, will allow them to start conscription. Not only conscription of former service members, if you remember, Israel does have a mandatory service time for their citizens, but not only going back and grabbing some of those fighting age men and women, but also forcing them to spend longer periods of time, longer than the minimum 2 years that they currently have. Another issue that Israel is now fighting against is that there are over 100,000 extremely Orthodox Jews in the state of Israel, or in the country of Israel. The problem that they have is that these people, for a very long time, have had an exemption to having to serve in the military. And so he is now asking that this finally come to an end.
Okay.
At a time when they are 20,000 soldiers short. He says they cannot afford to continue to allow such a large group of military-aged men to hold themselves to be essentially exempt from service. I mean, 100,000 military-aged men and needing 20,000 in order to support the needs of your military, I definitely understand. But now, unfortunately, in Israel, it is causing quite a rift. And being that they are on the brink of an election themselves, no one wants to be the person to say, yes, we are going to start drafting or conscripting people into the military who've already performed their service. They also don't want to be the one to say, hey, this group of ultra conservative Orthodox Jews, I know that for the last 50 years, you guys have been able to avoid service, but we're going to force you to now have to come into service, regardless of your religious preferences or your religious objections. You have to serve. That sounds like political suicide. But again, I have to imagine that Donald Trump is going to have something to say about this, seeing as how he's really backing Israel in this situation. The United States military is essentially covering the back ends of Israel in this particular conflict, and Israel is going to be expected to hold their end of the bargain. Now, if their military is on the brink of collapse, it's going to be very difficult to do that. I'm not sure exactly how Donald Trump is going to handle this, but in a moment, in a time of war, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And hopefully they don't allow politics to get in the way of making sound military judgment. Let me know what you guys think of this. Do you think Trump's going to get them in order? Do you feel that Trump is going to force them to clean their own house? I'll be curious to see you guys' thoughts. Comment below. I'll see you guys next time. Be blessed.
Never drive off immediately.
Okay, first cue video.
Well, let me tell you, after this was released, Hilton is now coming out and saying they're removing the independently owned hotel from their system. They write, quote, "The independent hotel owner had assured us that they had fixed this problem and published a message confirming this. A recent video clearly raises concerns that they are not meeting our standards and values. As such, we are taking immediate action to remove this hotel from our systems. Hilton is and has always been a welcoming place for all." Now, this whole debacle, it didn't stop ice for 1 second. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, she is now on the ground in Minneapolis with 2,000 agents. It is all hands on deck. And how does the governor respond today? He expresses his concerns for the safety of the Somali community.
Look, I'm concerned for my family, but I've got a little bit of protection now. My family, not so much. But what about Somali immigrants who are minding their own business? We've got 2,000 folks. We don't even know who they are. They'll be wearing masks, being here in Minnesota, harassing them. If you want us to fix fraud, come and help us. Come and help us do that. They're not interested in that.
We played that one. Sorry, guys. She does so many. I don't know which one to play.
He knew everybody, right? So some folks grabbed dinner with him, but had zero involvement in what he was doing illegally. And now their names might show up right next to the people who were involved. But someone who is tied up financially with a convicted sex offender, Reid Hoffman. And strangely, some Democrats who claim to want full transparency suddenly don't feel like talking. Here's Ro Khanna, Mr. Release the Files, trying very, very hard not to hear a question about Hoffman's donations to the Democrat Party.
Good morning, Congressman. Real quick, will you call on the DCC to return donations from Epstein associate Reid Hoffman? You don't want to answer, Congressman Khanna?
Of course not. They never want to talk about their own party's behavior. Now, Ro Khanna, he's not the only one doing the accountability hokey pokey. 1 step in, 2 steps out. Hakeem Jeffries. He's been all over TV talking about Epstein, but refuses to explain why his consulting firm reached out to Epstein in 2013, trying to arrange a dinner with him. Yeah, a dinner. The letter reads in part, quote, "We are thrilled to announce that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars in the New York congressional delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Shoot us an email or give us a call if you would like to get involved with the dinner, or would you like to get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better? He's an impressive guy and who will be a progressive voice in New York politics for years to come." Well, well, well. Looks like Brooklyn Barack forgot to mention a few things during his media tour. And then there's Stacey Plaskett, who's man, is she under fire for Epstein file ties. Just last week, when roughly 20,000 pages from Epstein's estate were made public, investigators found text messages between Epstein and Plaskett during a 2018 congressional hearing where Epstein was feeding her information to smear Donald Trump. To be clear, this is 10 years after Epstein's conviction in 2008. But before we break down those texts, here's a friendly reminder of what kind of person we're dealing with. This was Plaskett just last year.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans. And he needs to be stopped.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a Freudian slip with No apology attached. But the left isn't violent, so they say. Now, on the morning of the hearing aired on C-SPAN, let me show you the breakdown of the text messages between the two. Watch this.
She texted with Epstein. He'll talk about his grades. Epstein responded, "What privilege stands behind the non-release of college transcripts?" He then says, "Great outfit. You look great." All caps. Plaskett replied, "Thanks." It goes on. At 10:41 a.m., Epstein, ever the weirdo, texts her, "Are you chewing?" Plaskett responds, "Not anymore. Chewing interiors of my mouth. Bad habit from middle school." Then Epstein asks when Plaskett's turn for questioning Cohen will come up. And she replies, "Hours. Go to other meetings." But then we get to the meeting. Then we get to her turn. Then we get to the questioning of Cohen. And Epstein tells her, "Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of secrets." Plaskett doesn't know who Rona is. You don't know who Rona is. And Rona's in all caps. So Plaskett responds at 2:25 p.m., "Rona?" Then she says, "Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym?" Then finally Epstein responds, "That's his assistant."
Okay, now I want you to watch this next part. This is the C-SPAN footage, time-stamped up in the corner, right alongside the text messages, which will appear down below. They are also time-stamped. Watch Plaskett look down at her phone as the text messages roll in live.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Did you review? Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record? Yes or no?
Yes.
Question: you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They
and
are.
are there other people that we should be meeting with?
Then at 2:34 p.m., just 1 minute after she finished questioning
You get
Cohen,
all my
Epstein
stuff
told
I sent
Plaskett,
ya?
"Good work." Now, Republican Representative Thomas Massey, he's been standing with Democrats in their cry for the files to be released. However, when confronted about Stacey Plaskett's little situation with Epstein, he seems to have zero interest in this.
Well, Republicans moved to censure Rep. Plaskett after finding out she was texting with a convicted child sex offender.
I don't know. That's sort of, to me, that's just a distraction at this point.
What about Bill and Hillary Clinton? They're now refusing to show up before the House oversight regarding their depositions with Jeffrey Epstein. What's going to happen with them? Is there going to be a criminal referral?
That's up to the oversight committee and the Speaker of the House. I mean, everybody in this country has the right to plead the Fifth Amendment. If that's what they're doing, that's fine. But if they're refusing to show up at all, that's not legal.
Bannon and Navarro were in prison for doing the same thing. Should they be as well?
That's outside of my purview.
President Trump, he said from the start that if these...
Hey, got a couple of herds. And I got the second video of that one guy I did at the beginning there, Maria. This one's 6 minutes.
But the leaders that you were fearing or hearing, like Klaus Schwab, like Tedros, like Guterres, like what's this stupid girl, a transvestite girl called Greta Thunberg. How dare you?
They're all transvestites.
Transvestite, yes, boy. We infiltrated into the infiltration itself. Our paradise that the Lord has given us was actually made into a concentration camp, and we were born into this thinking this is life, going to school, learning that 1 and 1 is 2, learning that the globe is round, all these lies and lies and lies and lies. And today the truth is coming out through who? Through you, we the people. We obliterated the CIA. You see on Telegram there is hardcore, formally classified, top secret stuff floating around. We are operating now on the Title 47 USC 606. These are the war powers of the president regarding transmission. All signals on Earth are controlled, monitored in real time by the US Space Force. We are a massive military organization. It's the largest ever assembled defense war machine since time began. We are now commanding 1,600 generals and admirals in active duty, submarine ships, planes, TL-3Bs, you name it. You are safe. The message today on my born day is you are safe. There's no fear anymore. However, we call for your help. We call for your participation in this war. We're still in wartime. Please tell the people, put up the Inspector General's email address, the hotline email address. Last night I spoke to a Marine Corps, a veteran from the States, telling me about stuff that the hospital is still giving injections, promoting COVID injections. And guess what? We took them out. Then I had a lady writing to me at 4 o'clock in the morning saying that she knows that the guy is sodomizing, I hate that word, a young boy. Guess what? We sent the teams in right away. She said, Diana, and I beg you all, you must promote, you must, this is an order, the Inspector General's email so that you can vector our military where to strike. Because those secret societies, the big lodge, the Freemason lodges are destroyed. However, a lot of those guys have gone underground and they're still there. They're torturing, hurting, touching children. And if I say children of God, it's also you, it's me. It's the age of 57, which I represent in the 3D shit show here. We are all children of God. Divine humanity is safe. I repeat that now, second time, third time, in the name of Diana and me. You are absolutely safe. No one will touch you. But to give our military the vectors where to strike, you have the biggest military machine on your shoulders like a bazooka, but you need to tell us where to aim it at. And then we are there. Email. Please do not swamp them with phone calls. Thousands of officers, thousands of the GAG, of the Military Justice Department in all former territories monitoring that line, okay? And then they decide how they take out the enemy with a civil close team or with a bloody helicopter, the Nighthawks, with no markings on the tail, no tail number. They go in, it's called the hard knock, boom, the door opens in one way or the other, bang, bang, and they leave. That's where we are at now with taking out the minions, the judges, the lawyers, the doctors, the nurses who put syringes, the groomers who groomed our children to have how do you call that, the sex change? I mean, but we are here for you. We are at your service, We're not at the service of a politician because the politicians are all gone. It's the military for you, okay? We are here serving you. You need to tell us exactly who to strike. Remember the Batman movies? And everybody, when we were kids, oh, if I could have Batman to punch this guy, this enemy. Well, now you have much better Batman. You have me right in front of you and Diana. We get your call. The Inspector General, they're not wasting time. You don't have to write a legal memo. You just say, this person is bad, is doing this to the child. Here's the GSM number or email. That's it. Send. It's a short message, not a letter. Just some details, coordinates. Is the enemy. We need to know where the enemy is. Show us where the enemy is, for fuck's sake. And one more thing. Just that you are all clear. The enemies are listening now. My so-called fake friends from the past in Switzerland. I have delivered my entire phone book, 4,900 phone numbers, to the Inspector General and the Space Force to double cross-check who was a traitor, who is good. And let me tell you, nobody calls me anymore. They're shit scared. Why? They all failed. My colleagues of the military, even if they're not in service, they fucking failed. They knew it was a bioweapon. They didn't go to the police station. They didn't go and do something. Guess what? That's treason doing crime against the United States. I have no mercy for traitors. This is a backstabbing in my back of my mother, Diana, our children of God. No one betrays us. No one fucks with a calumny anyway.
Okay, we got two of him in today. Okay, what we got next? I just sent you something, JJ.
Death of the 18-year-old college student who was shot execution style by an illegal immigrant from Venezuela as her and her girlfriends walked down to Lake Michigan to see the Northern Lights. Brandon Johnson didn't express sympathy. Instead, he blamed President Trump, and this is what he said. He said that the biggest public safety threat to the citizens in Chicago is coming from red states, as they are trafficking in illegal weapons. Brandon Johnson didn't address the fact that he has allowed thousands of illegal immigrants to come and live in Chicago. The illegal immigrant who killed this young girl was living in a migrant shelter. Therefore, we gave him free food, we gave him free clothing, we gave him free medical care, we even gave him money. Joe Biden allowed this man to cross illegally into America, and Brandon Johnson welcomed him, just like he welcomed hundreds of thousands of other illegal immigrants into Chicago. Brandon Johnson cares more about protecting illegal immigrants, and had he worked with President Trump, had he allowed ICE to deport this dangerous criminal, this young girl would still be alive. Democrats do not care about the safety of American citizens. They care about protecting illegal immigrants, and it is just wrong. Brandon Johnson.
Okay, another good one from her. We got a second one from a lady, funny lady.
I mean, my God, what else do I have to do? I give updates. I rescue animals. I show y'all pictures of the chickens. I make videos with chicken commentary. I have geese trying to grate me when I'm leaned over. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm still not going viral. But then I get on TikTok, and there's somebody licking a paintbrush with just their eyes showing with the licking motion, 500 trillion likes. You got somebody that don't even have a body. It's literally a torso laying in a bed. I don't even think it's got a head. There's a phone set up, 12 million followers. I don't understand what's going on. And then you get the influencers on here that go, do you want to go viral? If you do, all you got to do is hit that like button, the share button, and the follow button, and save this video. Then comment, I want to go viral. And if you do that, just sit back and wait a few minutes, you're going to be viral. Well, I done did that 100 damn times, and I'm still not viral. Now, let me tell y'all something. I'm tired of working till fucking 11 o'clock every night just to survive. I feed now 60 cats, 3 colonies, freaking millions of dogs, ducks, geese, everything else. I thought to myself, I'm going to get on TikTok and my little talent that I got, okay, I really don't have a lot of talent. But anyway, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to at least make a couple $100 a month on TikTok to help with cat food. I ain't made shit. I made $157 in almost a year of being on TikTok. Guys, what is the secret? Make me go viral. Make me go viral, guys. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? Do I got to sing with a damn paintbrush? Hold a little Debbie cake and look sad? Run around outside screaming to the song Chandelier while I'm running into trees? I'll do it. Tell me what to do. Tell me. Oh, and by the way, hit the like button, hit the follow button, hit the share button. You can be just like me. Guys.
Sad to hear about that lady there. Yep. I can't even get monetized. I don't, That's all right. I'm okay. We got a Billy Bean, a 10-minute one, and I got a short Trish video, and then I got 2 the crime video.
And get you every. Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today's date is March 29, 2026. Time in Texas about 3 p.m. Happy Palm Sunday. And some of the things we'll cover. Israel has been hit by Iran in an area that has released radioactive material, and currently there is an emergency going on near Beersheba. And we have this, that Iraq, a portion of their paramilitary, have come into Iran, and the job of the Iraqis in Iran is to kill the people of Iran. We have had a serious hit on the U.S. military base located in Saudi Arabia. So we have coming out from U.S. intel that an Iranian missile has hit an industrial complex near Beersheba. It's in the Negev desert area of Israel, where that's the fourth largest city in Israel, with a population of over 200,000. So a few hours ago, a missile hit in near Beersheba in an industrial complex where there are many buildings with various chemicals. It's called Ramat Hovav Complex, that was hit in the Niyat Hovav industrial area near Beersheba, where Raphael advanced defense systems are made. And this location hit makes missiles and air defense. And currently in this area in Israel, the nuclear radioactive fallout sensors are registering a life-threatening level of radioactive material in the air. We understand that multiple chemicals are being released in this area, and that ammonia in this area is at a suffocating level. All of Israel's emergency methods of communicating to its population have been going off. Sirens, TV, radio, shelter in place. So that is going on today on Palm Sunday in Israel. And we definitely need to be in prayer for the people of Israel. We have this from Tutsi TV. Last night, there was what appears to be in England a terrorist attack about 9:30 last night. A vehicle rammed many people. We understand there are many injuries, and that the local police are in a lockdown and information. They do identify the driver as 36 years old from India. And also it's coming out that their counterterrorism group is also investigating. We have this from New York Proper. Yesterday, the Pentagon began an emergency purchase of standalone mobile bunkers to be shipped immediately to the Middle East to protect the U.S. military. So that's going on. We have this from New York Proper, and also from U.S. Intel, that it's believed that the Pentagon announces the U.S. military will be in Iran or in that area, hitting Iran for weeks to come. We have from Dabu 77. Today in Israel, it's been noted that all Palm Sunday celebrations were canceled. We have had a significant hit in the last 12 hours on a U.S. military base in Saudi Arabia. We understand that 15 U.S. military have been injured seriously. So we wait for more information to come out regarding that. We also understand an U.S. military AWACS plane was damaged,
Chico.
as well as some refuelers.
Stop.
And we have this, that
Stop.
yesterday the IDF hit in Iran one of their propaganda TV stations, Press TV. Press TV is where Professor Maradi, often seen on U.S. YouTube channels, is one of the speakers. But we understand this location, Press TV, has been demolished by Israel. And that it's coming out, I believe Tusi TV put this out, that Iran is now engaging in AI propaganda and also using crisis actors in its TV and radio propaganda programs. And we have this.
No, dear.
That we are hearing the Iranian people, along with a paramilitary citizen volunteer group, are rising up. And this group, we understand, are also armed, and they are taking out the Iranian police who are a part of the IRGC. We have from Fox News that now Saudi Arabia will join with the U.S. in hitting militarily Iran. And we have this. Yes, there's a paramilitary group made up of Iranian citizen volunteers who are armed and who are now actively fighting against the police in Iran. And we have this coming out from multiple sources that the Shia group in Iraq and eastern Iraq, directly affiliated with the IRGC, are now coming into Iran. And the job the IRGC has given this paramilitary group from Iraq is to kill the Iranian people. And we have this from Ward Carroll as one of the sources. Iran has hit a U.S. base in Saudi Arabia. They have damaged 5 KC-135 refueling planes. Initially, the report was they had wounded 10 U.S. military. That's now up to 15. And Iran has now given money to their indirect proxy, the Houthis in Yemen. And the Houthis are firing missiles at Israel. And we're learning the USS Tripoli has arrived in the Middle East, bringing thousands of Marines and sailors. So this concludes my flash. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Looks like only a flash today.
Of $40 million corruption, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar must appear in court and clarify the origin of her assets following accusations by Nick Shirley. Ilhan Omar is under significant pressure as she is required to appear in court and explain the source of her family's rapidly growing wealth. Recently, a federal judge quickly rejected Congresswoman Omar's emergency motion to halt the Department of Justice DOJ investigation into her family's explosive asset increase. The decision was made without holding a hearing, allowing the investigation to proceed. Omar, who was born in Somalia and represents the state of Minnesota, is expected to receive a series of subpoenas demanding detailed information about her assets. The case has drawn widespread attention after public financial reports revealed that the assets of Omar and her husband Tim Minette surged from nearly zero to an estimated $6 million to $30 million USD, with some reports suggesting it exceeds $40 million. Much of the increase is linked to Rose Lake Capital, a venture capital firm co-founded by Minette along with other business projects. Independent YouTuber Nick Shirley, known for his investigations into systemic fraud in Minnesota's childcare system, has publicly accused her of a lack of transparency and called for clarification on the source of the assets. Shirley has stated that he will continue to monitor and dig deeper into the matter. Omar's side has dismissed these accusations as politically motivated. However, following the judge's ruling, the Congresswoman is now required to provide a clear explanation of the source of the funds. The ongoing investigations by the DOJ and Congress continue to attract significant public interest. Female Congresswoman Ilhan.
You guys think it's only 40 million, or you think it's more?
Ask your healthcare provider if Biktarvy is right for you, and visit Biktarvy.com to view the important facts, including important warnings.
No more trans athletes competing in the Olympics. If you were born a boy, you're going to compete as a boy. If you were born a girl, you're going to compete as a girl. End of story. And this is a big deal. The president taking a little bit of credit for this one, but first the headline from Reuters: only biological female athletes whose gender will be determined by a one-time gene screening test will be eligible to take part in the female category at the Olympic Games from now on. This is the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, making the decision. Hallelujah. I mean, gosh, we were all sitting there going like, they're getting crazy, right? Totally, utterly crazy. So thank you to this current movement, this MAGA movement that stood up to this, and the president of the United States that stood up to it. He sent out a note today. Congratulations to the International Olympic Committee on the decision to ban men from women's sports. This is only happening because of my powerful executive order, standing up for women and girls. Yeah, he's standing up for women and girls. And you know what? They're stripping away funding from all these high schools and elementary schools all over the country that think that, you know what, we can have boys, naturally born boys, competing against females. It's fantastic news. This is a huge, huge win for society, for our culture. And even Bob Costas, right, who's like the Olympic broadcaster there, the sports broadcaster on NBC, he went on to CNN. They're like, what? Right? Because they may be thinking he'd have a different position, a different point of view, and he just told it like it is. Okay? Because, you know, some of us still have a brain. Watch.
You were the face of the Olympics for so many years. This news today about the IOC basically banning trans athletes, that there's going to be a genetic test.
Yeah.
Your reaction to that and this very complicated issue?
Give me enough time to address this so I'm not misunderstood. There are people who use this issue cynically for political purposes, and they're demonizing people who happen to be trans, who should be treated with respect and dignity and understanding. However, common sense is not transphobic. There's a reason why the high school champions don't compete with the college champions. There is a reason why no trans man who was once a woman and has become a man has ever competed successfully with men in the Olympics. If Caitlin Clark could play in the NBA, everybody would applaud it. That'd be an incredible thing. But if the last guy on the bench of an NBA team went to the WNBA and started averaging 40 points a game, everyone would know that is BS. There's a reason why Sugar Ray Leonard, who was a contemporary of Mike Tyson, didn't fight Mike Tyson. They were in different weight classes. There is a reason why there are men's and women's sports, and why Title IX was one of the truly progressive pieces of legislation in the best sense of the word progressive under the Nixon administration. It changed everything. I had a sister who never played a single organized sport. One generation later, 2 children of my own. My daughter played just about as many organized sports as my son. That's a great thing. It doesn't make any sense to have a swimmer who was the 472nd ranked swimmer when he was a man at Penn, either winning or coming close to winning against women a year and a half after transitioning. If that's what the person wants to do, that person should be treated with dignity and respect. But there ought to be common sense, and common sense is not transphobic.
And this policy is common sense.
Yes, this policy, the way Kirsty Coventry laid it out from Lausanne in the clip that you played is exactly correct.
And
thank you. Okay. Thank you, Bob Costas, for lending some support to this. You know, talking about feeling gaslit, right? You're like, I mean, I've never considered myself like super right wing. I really haven't, right? But I'm like, I guess I am. I guess I totally am, because I don't think that a naturally born man should be competing against women. I don't think that Leah Thomas should be getting the big giant award from ESPN. I don't think that they should be putting him on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And by the way, I'm a really nice person and I don't care what you do. You know, you do you, I do me. I'm pretty libertarian. But just don't try to get in my pool and swim against me, thank you very much, or share the ladies' room. I mean, really? So, hallelujah. This is a huge deal, you guys. Hallelujah. We are so happy to see that, yes, I mean, Reuters just couldn't believe this. They hated having to report on this, right? But only biological female athletes whose gender will be determined in a one-time screening test with DNA gene screening, forgive me, is going to be able to compete in the female category events at the Olympic Games from now on. I mean, did it have to take this long? Did we have to go through this much? Did you have to put us through this much pain? Did you have to strip Riley Gaines of her opportunities? No, the simple answer is no. But you political animals standing up there, grandstanding for political purposes, just trying to drive a wedge. And by the way, you're totally screwing women in the process, all right? Like you get up there and you go on and on about your women's lib and you stand for women. You don't stand for women. You never have. You only stand for yourself and you stand for politics. So yeah, you know, Reuters.
Okay, that's another good one. Okay, I got two more military action ones, about 20 minutes apiece. So two more big ones here.
Our shredding stack is here. Hot deals, only for March. Drive explosive energy.
The war in Ukraine has become the most drone battlefield in human history. In 2025 alone, Russia launched more than 1,000 Shahed drones per week against Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. Ukraine countered with cheap quadcopters and even long-range drones of its own. This created a mathematical conundrum for commanders and tacticians on both sides. How do you justify launching a multi-million-dollar interceptor to destroy a $50,000 drone? Meanwhile, existing anti-air systems were stretched thin across the 860 or so miles of the front line, as they needed to cover huge swathe of land that went dozens of miles in either direction. But in the 4 years of the war, Ukraine has managed to create innovative solutions to this math problem. And if the early reports are accurate, the latest might just be the most elegant answer Ukraine has found yet to the drone problem. A laser weapon called Sunray. On February 10, 2026, The Atlantic published a report describing a field demonstration of a weapon that Ukrainian soldiers and engineers have spent 2 years quietly building. Then exactly 1 month later, on March 10, Ukrainian journalist Andriy Saplienko released combat footage that appeared to show an unusual weapon being used against a real Russian target in the field. The weapon, which used directed energy, could apparently cut the fiber optic cable, which was tethering a Russian drone to its operator, and make it lose control without a single shot being fired. That footage, ironically recorded by a Russian military drone, showed a beam that looked like a glowing sphere hovering in the air, although that image was mostly due to the camera angle and light reflection. Still, to some it looked like something straight out of science fiction. But in reality, it was a relatively simple yet powerful directed laser beam. So let's dive into the promising new weapon with what we know and what we can infer from the footage and data. Sunray is technically the third publicly confirmed laser weapon Ukraine has developed since the start of the full-scale invasion in February 2022. The The first was Drizug, the Ukrainian word for trident, which the country's unmanned systems forces confirmed in early 2025 was capable of striking aerial targets at altitudes above 2 kilometers. The second was Slim Bee, a system whose technical specifications were also shared publicly by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry when it was introduced. Both of those programs were disclosed with relatively generous details, including power output and effective range. But by contrast, Sunray's revelation had practically no fanfare, and most of its information remained classified. There are no actual numbers on its maximum power, declared maximum range, or actual performance data in the field. That lack of information is significant, and we'll come back to why it matters. What's been disclosed is the physical form of the weapon, and it's far from the usual picture of a laser-like energy weapon you might see in movies. There is no towering apparatus, no truck-sized generator, no team of technicians in a hardened bunker monitoring glowing consoles. According to the weapon's description in The Atlantic, Sunray resembles a hobbyist telescope with a pair of cameras mounted on its sides. The entire system fits comfortably in the trunk of a standard car. During the demonstration, it was operated from the hood of a pickup truck. When the weapon was fired, or at least when the order to do so was given, the drone hovering a few hundred yards away began to burn and fell from the sky in a fiery arc within seconds.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. President Trump responded and says Fox
Weapon itself was practically silent and inert, with no ammunition to use. That last detail is worth noting because it goes to the heart of why laser weapons are generating so much interest as Ukraine looks for ways to survive the drone age. A missile intercept costs money every single time the trigger is pulled. Each interceptor in itself is a small missile that needs to be manufactured, procured, and tested. This previously created a natural bottleneck on how much Ukraine could spend on anti-drone warfare that wasn't purely electronic or drone-based in nature. Essentially, apart from using drones themselves, Ukraine would need to resort to trying to dismantle the networks that kept the drones connected to their operator. And with the fiber optics drones that we began seeing as early as 2024, that became practically impossible if you couldn't sever the physical connection. But with a laser weapon such as the Sunray, as long as it has electrical power, it can keep firing at nearly zero cost per shot. In the same amount of time it would take to deploy a Patriot interceptor, a laser system could theoretically have engaged hundreds of targets. And the Patriot missile itself costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and is only useful against aircraft or high-yield cruise missiles that Russia isn't really sending into Ukraine. That economic math is extraordinarily attractive in a conflict defined by industrial attrition. Now, if the description of a silent, invisible beam that ignites drones within seconds sounds familiar, that's because it should. Star Trek introduced audiences to the concept of directed energy weapons in the 1960s. The crew of the USS Enterprise used phasers, which shot beams of focused energy that could stun, disable, or disintegrate targets on command. Later, Star Wars gave us turbo lasers, planetary defense cannons, and the Death Star's directed energy weapon, large enough to vaporize an entire planet. The genre has spent 6 decades imagining weapons that kill with light rather than lead. Of course, Sunray is far from the capabilities of the Death Star or even a phaser capable of destroying a hardened metal hull or a tank. But the underlying concept, where you concentrate enough energy on a small enough point to heat up and destroy a small target, has been in the works for decades. All Sunray needs to do is overheat a small drone's electronics or burn through its thin carbon fiber frame at a few hundred yards. The physics behind the sci-fi weapon and the real-life one only differ in terms of scale. But that small scale is precisely what Ukraine needs when it's up against drone swarms daily. To understand what the demonstrated capability means in practice, consider the video from February. A small drone was launched and flew to a distance of a few hundred yards. The system tracked it autonomously, its cameras locking onto the target. Seconds after the operator commanded it to fire, the drone simply ignited and fell. The footage from March adds a different dimension. In that case, the weapons appear to have targeted not the drone itself, but the fiber optic cable connecting the drone to its operator on the ground. Severing that connection doesn't destroy the drone itself. The drone doesn't explode. It simply loses power and connection and drops. This in some respects, a more elegant kill than burning through the airframe. The target is neutralized silently, with no collateral risk from burning debris, and the only thing destroyed is a cable that's already an environmental issue. Of course, it takes a bit of a leap to go from these two highly controlled scenarios to the actual battlefield environment, but the overall principle behind its usefulness is sound. Russian forces have increasingly deployed what they call waiting drones, UAVs that hover or loiter near the front line, tethered to long fiber optic cables that carry signals back to the operator, bypassing GPS entirely and resisting electronic jamming. These systems have become a growing problem for Ukrainian forces because conventional jamming and GPS spoofing, which work against Shaheds and commercial quadcopters, simply don't work against a drone being piloted directly through a physical wire. A laser that can target that cable and burn through it in seconds offers a solution to a problem that no existing system handles as cleanly. At the shorter end of the threat spectrum, small commercial quadcopters modified to drop grenades or carry shape-charged warheads have been one of the defining tactical weapons of the war, terrorizing infantry positions across the front. These drones are cheap, numerous, and difficult to shoot down with conventional weapons. A point defense laser that can silently burn one out of the sky within seconds of detection without producing a sound that reveals the position of the operator without expending any ammunition represents a compelling tool at the company or battalion level. Position it on a vehicle, power it from a generator, and let the AI tracking system do the work. Every small FPV drone that approaches the defensive line becomes a potential engagement, and every engagement costs essentially nothing. Now for the numbers, because the numbers are where Sunray's story becomes genuinely remarkable. The report suggests Sunray has been approximately 2 years in development, with some estimates that the prototype cost a few $1 million. The projected unit cost for a production model sits at several $100,000. The closest comparison we have is the US Navy's Helios system, which stands for High Energy Laser with Integrated Optical Dazzler and Surveillance. Helios was developed by Lockheed Martin under a contract signed in 2018 worth $150 million. And that's the cost of the development contract alone, not the per-unit cost of fielding the system across a fleet. Some analyses of the full Helios program, including options and follow-on work, put the potential total closer to $1 billion. The American system is genuinely impressive and operates at power levels that Ukraine's prototype almost certainly can't match. But for the specific mission Ukraine needs to accomplish, such as knocking small drones out of the sky near the front line, the Ukrainian system is likely much more cost-effective. That cost calculus becomes even more striking when you place Sunray next to the broader 2025 landscape of high-energy laser weapons developed in the West. Germany's Rheinmetall and MBDA have been developing a shipboard laser demonstrator since at least 2019. As of early 2026, that program had completed a year of sea trials and more than 100 live fire tests. Yet its budget committee was already raising alarms about a projected cost of €462 million, roughly $548 million at current exchange rates, just for the demonstrator phase. Meanwhile, the Australian company Electro Optic Systems offers its 100-kilowatt Apollo laser weapon, which secured the first known export contract for a laser system of its kind last August, with the Netherlands as the buyer. These are mature, powerful systems built to the demanding standards of Western procurement programs, with reliability, interoperability, and longevity requirements that add significantly to their cost and development timelines. Now, if you want to check out some of the Western systems, make sure to subscribe to The Military Show. We post daily videos that cover all major advancements in military tech. Instead, Ukraine's Sunray is carving out a unique niche: cheap weapons that can be fielded in large numbers, that can be constructed quickly in wartime conditions, and are effective against the specific drone threats that are killing soldiers on the front line. If Ukraine can eventually produce Sunray at scale, and that's a substantial if, the strategic implications can be significant. Modern air defense in Ukraine is built around layers. Long-range systems like the Patriot handle ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. Medium-range systems handle strikes at intermediate distances. And at the short end, infantry teams with machine guns, electronic warfare kits, and improvised drone-catching nets handle the swarm threat that bleeds through everything else. Sunray could sit inside that short-range layer as a silent, ammunition-free point defense asset that doesn't deplete the missile stocks Ukraine is always scrambling to resupply. A production model priced at a few $100,000 can make the weapon available for widespread field deployment across brigade and battalion positions. Even at moderate quantities, a network of Sunray units distributed along the contact line would represent a meaningful uptick in Ukraine's close-range drone defenses, and it would do so without adding to the interceptor bill, which has been one of the dominant financial pressures of the war. The development trajectory of Sunray is also a bit unique. It illustrates a pattern that's appeared repeatedly in Ukraine's wartime innovation story. The program reportedly began roughly 2 years before the February 2026 public disclosure. That timeline places its origins in early 2024, a period when Russia was dramatically intensifying its Shahed campaigns and Ukrainian air defense reserves were already under severe strain. The engineers who built Sunray didn't have the luxury of a multi-year development phase, a manufacturing bidding process, rounds of congressional authorization discussions, or a decade of testing. They identified a need, started building, and kept iterating until they had something capable enough to demonstrate to a journalist from one of the world's most prominent publications. Compare that to how similar directed energy programs have proceeded in the West. The US Navy's laser weapon development effort, in various forms, has been running for well over 2 decades. Germany's shipboard laser demonstrator has been in development for at least 6 years and has still not reached operational deployment. The UK's Dragonfire program, which successfully demonstrated its own laser weapon in a series of 2024 tests, has been in development since 2017. The West has much slower defense procurement systems designed to minimize risk, ensure interoperability across complex aligned structures, and deliver weapons that will remain in service for 30 years. But that's practically incompatible with the tempo at which the drone threat is evolving in Ukraine. By the time a Western-directed energy weapon completes its standard development cycle, Russian drone engineers will have introduced 2 or 3 generations of design improvements. Ukraine cannot afford to wait for perfection. It needs good enough now, in sufficient numbers to matter. This is precisely the culture that produced some of the major advancements in Ukraine and allowed it to survive against a major numerical disadvantage. Ukraine's wartime defense industry doesn't optimize for longevity, interoperability, or the comfort of procurement officers. It optimizes for getting something functional onto the battlefield before the next wave of Shaheds arrives. That said, there are some possible issues with the system. The demonstration showed a small drone being destroyed at a range of a few hundred yards, and the March footage suggested cable-cutting capability at a similar range. But neither of these provides the data needed to answer the questions that actually matter for air defense planning. What is the system's maximum effective range? What power class does it operate at? How does it perform in fog, rain, dust, or smoke? All of which are constants on a Ukrainian battlefield. How quickly can it track and engage a fast-moving target compared to a hovering drone? The RAND Corporation, in a report published in December 2025, characterized the directed energy weapons as relatively immature and not currently a viable option. The cited limitations are exactly what you would expect: significant power and infrastructure requirements, inability to engage targets beyond line of sight, and heavy dependence on clear atmospheric conditions. Laser energy is also dispersed by water vapor, dust, and aerosols. During testing, the system might perform brilliantly, but those tests are usually done under clear skies or with limited adverse weather simulations. In a real-life scenario, it's hard to tell how it will actually behave. Then there's the fundamental ceiling imposed by the physics of power density. Shooting down a small hovering quadcopter at a few hundred yards requires a certain amount of energy concentrated on a small target for a brief window of time. Shooting down a Shahed 136 cruising at 110 miles per hour from nearly a mile away requires more energy, more precise tracking, and a longer dwell time on target. Currently, it seems that there's no feasible way that Sunray will ever achieve that, so Ukraine would likely deploy it only against small UAVs at short distances. But this is not a minor caveat. Shaheds are the weapon that has done the most cumulative damage to Ukrainian infrastructure, civilian life, and energy systems. They're the drones that have plunged Ukrainian cities into darkness in the middle of winter, that have destroyed power plants and substations, that have killed civilians sleeping in their homes. If Sunray cannot engage Shaheds, it's not Ukraine's Iron Dome. It will be a specific point defense tool for short-range drone threats, and a potentially important one, but ultimately only one component in a layered system rather than the system's centerpiece. That layered system is very much what Ukrainian officials describe when they talk about the direction of the country's air defense development. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reportedly tasked Pavlo.
Want to flush out its swollen legs? Stop doing this first. I'm going to show you something about leg swelling that might surprise you. Most folks have heard about lymph nodes, right? But
Yelizarov, the newly appointed deputy commander of the Air Force, with assembling an integrated national dome over critical infrastructure by summer 2026, a timeline that insiders acknowledge is extremely compressed. That dome, as conceived, would combine Sunray-type laser systems to be used at close range with the CDIS autonomous interceptor drone system from C and Naudi, which launches interceptors vertically and guides them to targets using onboard cameras and AI. In addition, the P-1 Sun from Skyfall is a reusable interceptor drone that's already accumulated a combat record of over 1,000 kills. The limited number of Western missiles, Patriots, NASAMs, Iris-Ts, are preserved for the hardest targets: ballistic missiles, advanced cruise missiles, the threats that no drone interceptor and no short-range laser can handle. Everything cheaper than that gets handled by the cheaper layer. But there are still a few major questions to answer. The missing technical specifications, such as the power output, the range, and the weather performance, are all important factors that will determine how useful the weapon is. Only with those numbers will analysts be able to make an honest assessment of how many sun rays Ukraine would need to meaningfully affect the drone threat it faces and what it would cost to reach that threshold. Until then, Sunray remains a very promising experiment that's cleared important hurdles rather than solved a problem. But apart from those issues, it's clear that Ukraine has demonstrated again and again throughout this war that they have the capacity to close technological distances that would have seemed insurmountable 5 years ago, faster than anyone expected, and at fractions of the cost that comparable Western programs require. 2 years from concept to field demonstration, a few $1 million for a prototype, a few $100,000 per unit at production scale. A system that can silently destroy a small drone in seconds without firing a single piece of ammunition or leaving any signature that tells the enemy the location of the operator. In a war defined by the accumulation of small advantages and the grinding mathematics of attrition, that might be the beginning of something considerably larger. Thanks for watching. Now, if you want to understand...
So that was a different video, something different we never heard of. So sorry for the people that didn't like it. I hope some people liked it. We got one more. $24 minutes.
Okay, get ready for this one. So, as many of you are aware, we just had the No Kings 3.0 protest around the United States. So I have been covering the Portland Ice Fest for a very long time now, and the only way I can describe what we're about to watch is shocking. But here's the thing. This is not only shocking because of what protesters did, this is also shocking because of what the police did and federal agents. For example, no tear gas was used the entire night, despite the front gate of the facility being ripped open multiple times, despite all of the security cameras being taken out. No tear gas at all. So I don't want to spoil too much. We're going to dig into all of it, but I'm simply just trying to let you know there was something shocking about both sides here. And as we dig through the videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, real quick, before we start all of this, make sure to please like the video. It helps out a ton. And if you are new here, make sure to please subscribe because we've been covering Portland for a very long time now, and I don't want you guys to miss a thing. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's start with this. It looks like protesters realized very early on the federal agents, for whatever reason, they were not pushing back as hard as they typically do. Let's dig through it.
Never drive off immediately after filling your tank. What happens in those first few minutes is the reason your gas disappears so fast. If you own a car made
Okay, and we're just getting started, so leave your comments below. Now, a complete contrast from what some of you are probably used to back in 2025. It used to be if you take a step on the federal property, you're going to see tear gas, you're going to see pepper balls, and you might get arrested. As I scroll back a little bit, you're not imagining what you're seeing. This is literally what you're seeing. This gate got broken into, the gate got open, and this is not the first time it's going to happen. Protesters were able to breach the front gate. So keep in mind, things are a lot different. That's why I said on both sides, it's a little shocking to see no pepper balls, no tear gas, but the agents did push back. Okay, so after the front gate got breached and there was debris everywhere, then this happened.
Failure to adhere to this order may subject you to citation or arrest. If necessary, crowd control measures, including impact munitions or other physical force, may be also used to justify the law.
So that video was filmed by Honey Badger Mom on X. Make sure to go give her a follow. But early on, Honey Badger was able to film how the Portland police, they were monitoring the situation. They did give a warning, and eventually they showed up. But spoiler alert, they ended up leaving. So Katie Davis Court on X was able to capture the moment when protesters saw the police show up, and the protesters were not happy. Also, a lot of the clips we're getting is going to be because of Katie Davis Court, so make sure to go support her, go follow her.
So everything outside of this driveway right here is the city's property, so they are in charge of all of that. And what you saw last year was Portland police abandoning their law enforcement partners, their federal law enforcement partners, when they are in charge of this area.
To be on the line for the first time, feel like a real cop.
So just to give you an idea of how long it lasted for the police to actually show up, it was about 30 to 40 minutes. The police stood there, formed a perimeter for about 30 to 40 minutes so that federal agents, they could fix that gate because it got breached open and it was broken. But then the police started leaving, and then this immediately happened.
All right, so this is them leaving. All right, Portland police is getting mobbed out. Projectiles have been thrown at them. Share this stream, guys. This is the Portland ICE facility. Okay, we're back at it.
I am not kidding when I say this. You can even fact check my timeline. It was almost maybe 3 to 4 minutes when the police left. The gate got re-breached. It got opened again. You'll see what the response is from federal agents. I think for many people who are well aware of this Portland story and you have seen a lot of these different protests, I think the expectation is pepper balls and tear gas. However, that doesn't happen.
All right, the feds are coming back out.
How did that happen? What happened to the game?
Thanks, Kay. Love you. We'll see you tomorrow. He's running third place with 5 votes.
I hope nobody likes the game.
So I do want to clarify, the reason why I'm talking about an expectation of tear gas and pepper balls is because very recently, just 2 days ago, the appeals court actually has allowed for tear gas and pepper balls to be used by federal agents. And if you're unaware, the federal agents, they have been complying with the judicial order to not use tear gas under 2 specific orders. Not using tear gas if it seeps into the nearby apartment building, and also not using tear gas unless you really have to under extreme situations where like your life is at risk. But now that got appealed. So again, I think that's why many people expected, and that's why so many people, they're wearing gas masks. Okay, they're allowed to use the tear gas, allowed to use the pepper balls, but again, we didn't see any tear gas. We did see some pepper balls, but not as much as you would think. So eventually, federal agents got the gate shut. They basically chained the gate shut, and they had no choice. They pushed forward, and they actually made a targeted arrest.
Wow, dragging the person there.
What the is that shit? Get the out of the way!
Hey, it's Ashley with Four Patriots. You're in a bit of trouble. To put it plainly, we need to clear out some space in our warehouse fast.
15 minutes, guys. 15 minutes.
You asshole!
Okay, so that agent just had something thrown at him. Again, keep in mind, I am skipping through some of the timeline to get to these big moments, but throughout this entire time I've been skipping in between these pockets, we've seen stuff being thrown constantly. You can go back and fact check me, go check through the live streams. Things were being thrown constantly.
Hey, whoa, don't get you trigger happy, you fuck! Yeah, don't run away from your butt buddies, you you don't know who it is, we all will die! Kill yourself!
Okay, so again, even in this moment, you really didn't see pepper balls, you didn't see tear gas. One thing I also want to point out, it looks to be a mixed group of federal agents, Border Patrol and the FPS, Federal Protective Services. So we don't know how many federal agents were allotted this night for the No Kings protest. Obviously, there was an expectation, there was a public announcement, there would be many protesters at this building. We don't know what the behind the scenes are as far as why this is the number we see. Maybe some people will think this is a lot of federal agents. Maybe some people will think this is not nearly enough federal agents, but I'm simply just trying to point out it appears as if this is all they had that night. Okay, so eventually all of the federal agents returned back into the building, and then this happened. Let me know how you feel about this. I hope you guys are leaving your comments, and please like the video as we go through this. And again, if you're new here, make sure to please subscribe. We've been covering these situations a lot in Portland.
Share this stream, guys. If anyone is watching, please clip this video and tag me in it. He just kicked out a security camera.
Fuck you!
Share the stream. Alright, officers are coming out.
Buy my man a beer! Buy my man a fucking beer!
Okay, so real quick, I do want to point this out as far as where is this all happening? That is happening literally right here. In fact, interesting enough, when you go to the Google Maps picture, that same camera is placed right there. Now, whether or not it's actually working, we have no idea, but I'm simply just trying to show you the location of where that's happening, right in front of the building. Also, keep in mind, at this point of the night, this gate has been chained shut. The federal agents have locked themselves in. So right now, there's really only one area those agents can exit as far as approaching these protesters head on. That would be this area right here, where the federal agents appear to have installed their own doorway. And you'll notice throughout the clip, he keeps looking over and other protesters are watching to see if the federal agents will exit the door. And again, this might shock you.
Now, if I had to guess, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is definitely going to be ruling in favor of the feds at the April.
I don't understand how he's getting away with that. There's nobody up there arresting him. How can anybody get up there? I can't believe that.
7th hearing.
Yeah. Yep, there are.
Right, share the stream, guys.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming President Trump is declining in the polls. President Trump responded and says,
so if you were expecting a volley of like pepper balls or a bunch of tear gas, you're thinking, okay, this has to be it. I mean, somebody ran up on the federal building. They're destroying the federal building. No, that did not happen. In fact, all that happened is that one federal agent went on top of the roof up here. They looked over and then they just walked back.
Oh, they is monitoring the situation.
Okay, so the police actually eventually showed up, but from this timeline, we had about an hour and 30 minutes of pretty much whatever you wanted to do, it appeared. Like another camera got destroyed, plywood was being ripped up, things were being thrown, people were approaching the front gate. And again, a lot of people, they're wearing their gas mask, probably expecting that something might happen, we might see a clash, but none of that happened. However, if you are unaware of Portland policies, this might give us some insight as to why we probably didn't see any tear gas. If tear gas is deployed, you're not going to be seeing the Portland police or really any police show up to back up the federal agents. That's within Portland's own policies as far as when the Portland police can assist or how they can deal with a riot or protester. So keep that in mind. In my personal opinion, the reason why I think tear gas was not used is because the federal agents, they were not going to get any help at all. As long as there's tear gas, the Portland police legally cannot help out. And since there's no tear gas, you're actually going to see some cooperation together here. So this would be the Portland police.
No, I'm going to go left once they come down. I'm not trying to get arrested. I like to comply with lawful orders.
This drive will look down on you guys for siding with fascists and Nazis.
So I don't know if you guys can hear it. Many people are upset that they are siding with ICE right now. We've seen this time and time again. Just want to point that out. So again, this gives us a lot of insight. These are the police. They're the ones going up on the driveway and pulling people away, these protesters, not the federal agents. Again, that gives us a little bit of insight into the possible communications behind the scenes as far as who's going to deal with this or take care of this. And then you'll see very soon the federal agents do end up coming outside to work with the police, which is good. We do want to see communication and cooperation. But as far as waiting almost 2 hours to show up and help out the federal agents, that's another conversation you guys can have in the comments.
All right, police are taking control. Right, and so this is a sanctuary city, so all of these protesters here tonight are going to say that Portland Police is illegally helping ICE, and that really is not the case.
And here's the thing, back in 2025 in June, a lot of complaints were being made that it appears as if the Portland police, they are assisting ICE agents as far as the very beginning of these clashes we saw around the first No Kings protest.
There's absolutely zero immigration enforcement efforts occurring at this time.
Is it the diaper that's causing you to do this? I can't think of any other reason as to why this dance is necessary right now, because I know there's nothing in their life that requires that.
Oh, they found their favorite guy again.
A little bit, and we Mexican, bro. And he stays cool, bro.
Oh.
So this might shock some of you, but the Portland police actually made multiple arrests this day and night.
It is huge plan to keep this up again.
Why are you in? What's so good on your knees? I'm city council. You're not supposed to be wearing masks. You know, people that are such good boys today, cleaning up after yourself for what?
Okay, so eventually this all died down. While that was happening, federal agents, they were cleaning up the area, cleaning up debris, and eventually people did end up leaving after these arrests. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really tried to piece this together as far as the proper succession of time and give you guys the pinnacle moments. But in between the videos I showed you, we still had some other tense moments.
So that was Wonder how much money they were getting paid. I think it's $200 they get a protest. It wasn't worth $200. Okay, everybody. The last two were wild ones there. So I hope everyone has a good Monday. And stand by if anything develops. I'm just playing it day by day, 5 o'clock schedule time for tomorrow. And yep, Maria. Time to end the movie. April 1st is what? Wednesday. So we'll see what happens. So God bless everybody. Remember, please hit the like. Thanks, Mods. Fun Eagle, okay, Carol, Lucy, Tim. JJ, good to see ya. And stay safe, stay strong, get the faith. And never give up. So tomorrow evening at 5, hopefully I can stay at 1. If I find more big videos, I'll come on. But hopefully I can stay at 5. And everyone have a good work week. And signing off, Chico Dude for the weekend intel gone through. You guys, we'll see you tomorrow.